85% is probably fake on the internet, but this one, I think she's telling the truth.
You think so?
That's
why I haven't touched it. I don't think it's right.
You called?
Because all these people are like, yeah, I had experiences with 911. How many people call 911?
Well, that was the joke that
I've never called 911. Have you ever called 911 in your life?
I made a joke on TikTok. I made a video on TikTok, and dude, it's gotten like almost 95,000 views.
Yeah.
Talking about the 911 operator. 95,000 views in the last 3 days.
That's fucking crazy.
And the joke at the end, though, was like, I'm just thinking, there's still people in this town that call 911?
I'm like, that's what I was saying. Like, how many people at this point have really called 911?
You guys are still calling 911 thinking somebody's going to show up?
Yeah. There's like a some girl nationally that did a bit on Instagram. Yeah. She used the comments as her thing. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I did. Except I put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
I said it TikTok and got like almost 95,000 views. Stupid.
Voluntary manslaughter, also with a gun and gang charges for a total of 42 years. At Lerdo Jail, the water is again unsafe to drink, says the Sheriff's Department, and again, there's a not drink notice. That goes for prisoners and staff. That fresh water is put in coolers. They say it's a cost of now the fresh water, to rectify it, the banks are going to get a good clean. Meanwhile, the health department closures are either happening now or coming up. One is Driver Road at 9th Avenue in Delano, and that is 24 hours a day until February 20th at 5 because the work on an open street. Union Avenue from Rosedale Highway to Holland Street is closed 9 to 2. Work.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Thursday, a wet and rainy, windy, cloudy, weird Thursday. Got a busy broadcast, as you can imagine. There's all kind of international news going on, as I'm sure all of you are aware. We will talk about the arrest of Prince Andrew. We'll get into the Zach Scrivener situation where H.A. Sala insists that the appeal has nothing to do with the child endangerment charges, but have to do with the weapons charge. I'll try to unpack that for you. It's a Thursday, so Mike Turnipseed will be here at 4 o'clock, and our money man, Daniel Petrie, at 4:30. And coming up in the 5, Bill Plaschke. I don't know if you guys are following college football. I've started because March Madness is right around the corner. And there was an incident at the UCLA-Michigan State game where Mick Cronin, the UCLA coach, sent one of his players to the locker room over a flagrant 1 foul. Not a flagrant 2, but a flagrant 1. And it's even questionable whether it was a flagrant 1. The referees didn't throw the young man out, but Cronin grabbed him by the jersey and sent him to the locker room. And this comes in the wake of the Kansas State coach getting fired after he went on a press conference and just trashed his own kids. So they didn't deserve to wear the K-State uniform, et cetera, et cetera. And that they were lazy and they didn't put out any effort. And 3 days later, they whacked him. Well, Bill Plaschke wrote an incredible column today in the Los Angeles Times saying that Cronin should get the same treatment. That to embarrass that kid in the manner in which he did, as Plaschke wrote, why didn't he just sit him at the end of the bench? Like every other player that's ever played any other sport that has displeased their coach. But no, Cronin sends him, embarrasses him in front of the Michigan State fans, who then went on a tirade mocking the kid and mocking Cronin, and he was asked about it and then got rude with one of the reporters. We'll hear that coming up at the 5. And on Black History Month moment today focuses on Ida B. Wells. Again, as I've tried to explain, this year I've gone about Black History Month a little bit differently, trying to highlight African Americans that most of you have never heard of in your life. And I'm sure you've never heard of Ida B. Wells. And if I have time, I've got a weird story that I want to share, but it's exclusive to parts of the audience. Like Chris, you can continue what you're doing. You don't have to pay attention to this because you have no reference. But you have to be, I think, over 50, 55, and you have to be as stupid a freak as I of the Andy Griffith Show.
Okay.
And you're not an Andy Griffith Show freak, are you?
Not a freak. I've seen quite a bit of it, though. I did watch a lot of it.
Okay, let me test you then. Do you remember one of Andy's girlfriends, Peg? And the drama between the two of them began when he found out that she was rich, and Barney tried to implant to Andy, you can't be with a rich girl.
Right.
And then there was another episode. There were 4 episodes. Then there was another episode where Andy started spending time with her, and Opie got jealous. And then at the end of the episode, there's really a great scene where Andy explains to Opie, look, I love you more than anybody else on the planet. We'll always be together. And then they're supposed to go fishing the next day, and Opie goes and gets her, and they all go fishing together. Because, of course, the Andy Griffith Show has to end on a happy note.
Of course.
And then there's another. So anyway, so do you remember that character?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay. Well, I found out, I was reading this thing about her life.
Huh?
Her name was Joanna Moore, and how just an incredible life filled with turbulence and drug addiction and alcoholism. She had an ear birth defect, which caused her to have to lip read her fellow actors. She got that fixed. She was on a bunch of those 60 shows, including the 4 episodes on the Andy Griffith Show. She was on The Rifleman. She was on a lot of those typical 60 shows, Westerns, etc. Boop, boop, boop. Come to find out, she is Tatum O'Neal's mother. I for some reason, I thought I'd get applause or a big, but I forget there's no audience. But I was just stunned by that. Because Peg was beautiful. And I'm just going to read you her bio, where she just went through trials and tribulations. And then you just sit back and then you go, well, no wonder Ryan Jr. or whatever the boy's name is, I think it was Patrick. But no wonder Tatum O'Neal was such a mess. Her mother was, it's an incredible story, but it's just weird that she was Peg on the Andy Griffith Show. See, I told you it was very exclusive.
That's an interesting little connect the dot, though.
Yeah, that's when I read that. I was just like, what? Because you always hear about the weird relationship she had with her father, who couldn't stand her.
Huh.
You know why? Because he was a career actor.
She was more famous.
He brings on his 11-year-old, and she wins an Academy Award. Do you know he didn't even go?
Really?
He did not go. Look it up.
Your daughters?
He did not go to his daughter's Academy Award.
That's wrong.
She won that award without any of her parents in the audience at 11 years old. Somebody should have said at 11, this girl's going to be a drug addict and drunk. The writing was on the wall when she was a kid. It's like, no wonder she was a drunk and a drug addict. And the brother got in all kind of trouble. Didn't he kill one of Francis Ford Coppola's kids in a boating accident or something? I'm pretty sure. We'll talk about that at some point if I have time. And Reese's, my fellow Reese's lovers, did you hear this story?
What are we talking about?
One of the Reese families is suing the Reese's company because he claims it's fake chocolate, it's fake peanut butter.
Oh,
I haven't had sweets in a year, so I would know.
I wouldn't be surprised if the peanut butter was fake. I've always thought it tastes a little different, but
They
it
said
still tastes
it's
good.
peanut cream. It's not peanut butter.
Okay.
And that the milk chocolate is no longer milk chocolate. It's a compound coating instead of milk chocolate.
Okay.
Well, the family members. I didn't know Reese's was a family. I thought that was the first name. But no, it's the Reese family. And one of the Reese families ratted them out. We might get to that. But we begin with the situation with the AG's office. This thing is just absolutely amazing. I tried to get Mr. Sala on, but he said he was in court to try to explain this thing because it just goes to show you how incredibly incompetent the AG's office is. Apparently, what caused them to deny the appeal is that they blew the format of the writ. In other words, they didn't fill out the paperwork properly, apparently. So they've reformatted it. But according to Mr. Sala, and I'm sure many of you saw this in the newspaper today, I got to speak with him this afternoon, but he could not come on the broadcast. But basically, the charges, I want to read this. I want to make sure I get this right. The Attorney General filed a writ on very limited grounds. They are contesting the Kern County Superior Court's finding that mental health disorders were significant factors relating to the counts 1 to 3, according to H.A. Sala, referring to the charges of felony child endangerment. They did not. Let me read that again. The Attorney General filed a writ on very limited grounds. They were not contesting the court's finding that mental health disorders were significant factors relating to counts 1 to 3, the charges of felony child endangerment. Instead, the writ focused on 2 counts of unlawful possession of a firearm. The state argued that Scrivener's mental health disorders were not a contributing factor in those counts, in the firearms counts, as the weapons were purchased legally but were not registered following a change in state law. According to Mr. Sala, the AG argued that because the mental health diversion was ineligible for those counts, the weapons charges, the program should be rejected on all counts. Mr. Sala was quoted as saying, which to me is nonsense. As in the past, the state submitted no material from, well, listen to this, the state submitted no material from a medical expert challenging the defense's medical diagnosis, and that Tuesday's writ hadn't challenged the child endangerment charges. Sala said the 5th District Court of Appeals sent an email Wednesday afternoon stating without explanation the writ had been rejected. And somewhere I've heard that. Someone highlighting the fact that the state did not challenge Mr. Sala's physician. And now they're trying to cover their behind. It is absolutely ridiculous. And as heartbreaking as it here to come out of my mouth, Zach Scrivener earned his mental health diversion. His family spent a ton of money on H.A. Sala, and he whooped the state's ass, plain and simple. And now, even in their appeal, they're incompetent. They don't even know how to do the paperwork. Think about what I'm telling you. Think about what Sala is alleging and what is fact. That our top law enforcement group, the Attorney General's office, the top cop of the state, they don't even know how to fill out a writ for an appeal. And they send this Joe Penny down here to trade sabers with H.A. Sala. They don't charge Scrivener with a sexual charge. They specifically pick a charge that allows him mental diversion. And then after the fact, they take off their shoe and pound it on the table and say, wait a minute, we want you to send him we don't want mental diversion. It just makes absolutely no sense. And it with this Epstein thing circling the world now, literally, or I guess figuratively, it just kind of makes you believe, is there like a larger conspiracy where even if you're not of the same Republican or Democratic background, that you kind of look out for one another? That's the only thing I can come up with on how the AG's office could fumble this badly. You know, if it's a small little county that was involved in the prosecution on in the Nancy Guthrie thing where clearly the Pima County people are overwhelmed and don't know what the hell they're doing. I understand that. But this is California. And this is our top law enforcement prosecutorial arm. And they can't fill out a writ properly. They don't even file an appeal properly. They have a case against a guy who's caught in bed with his daughter, and yet they don't challenge the doctor who says he's nuts cuckoo and then complain about it after the fact. Like the judge is supposed to say, I'm going to ignore the one physician that the defense actually brought, and I'm going to make my own decision. It's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And the only bar I've ever passed is in Casey's Steakhouse. Boom. I once said something that about somebody and got in big trouble. That's a long story. I just don't get it. I really don't. Let's take our first break of the day and we come back. There's still yet another part of this story. And you could probably figure out what part I'm talking about, but we'll get into that next. At the bottom of the hour, we'll get into this Prince Andrew nonsense. He was arrested on his 66th birthday. Happy birthday, Prince, or former Prince. The former Prince of Bel Air, or of Great Britain, I guess. Big dummy. And wait till you hear, because it's not funny. A woman killed herself who pointed him out, is seen in pictures with him. And wait till you hear how he explains how she has to be lying. We're talking about Miss Giuffre. I believe that's how she pronounces it. Giuffre, woman at the age of 40 who committed suicide. Most physicians believe based on her experience with the Prince and Mr. Epstein. And then our man Mike Turnipseed at 4, Daniel Petrie at 4:30, and the life and times of Ida B. Wells in the 5. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, has Prince Andrew been beheaded yet? We'll have live team coverage. Plus, people are saying it out loud. Judeo-Christian values really matter for civilization.
What war with Iran will look like. Not could look like, will look like. Because I think it's happening. We'll talk to Mike Lyons about that. We'll have all the latest details and all the news. That's what we do on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You know, oddly, one of the things that I rarely talk about when I talk about Casey's Steakhouse is lunch. If you work downtown, if you work for the county or wherever on Truxton, it's not very far and it's real quick and it's very convenient. And the menu is similar, just smaller portions, and it is outstanding. And the variety on the menu that Chef Daniel has put together now is simply unbelievable. It's mostly a large groups that come to Casey's Steakhouse. Not everybody's feeling red meat to celebrate someone's birthday or an anniversary or whatever the event may be. And that's why Chef Daniel has advanced the menu. So there's Italian food. I love the fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. The lobster mac and cheese is everybody's favorite. The fish dishes, the mahi-mahi, the swordfish, the halibut. Where would you rather be than on F Street? And don't forget about the Stockyard next door for meetings, banquets, or just having dinner and having some of the craft cocktails that are served next door. It's Casey's Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Typical tax free edition only. Roughly 37% of filings qualify. Simple form 240 returns only. Now this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
And to get TurboTax free edition, see if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Last week, there was the Paul Sheldon sighting. Kind of rare and very exciting. Everyone asking, where has he been? Of course, his clients weren't worried about their Medicare, even when Paul in person wasn't there, because there's Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. The grandkids like to play, Where's Waldo? Granddad's asking, hey, where'd Paul go? Just games that are fun to win. But when push comes to shove and the day is done, we know it's covered, so it's all in fun. Because there's Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Over the years, so many have said it. The guy's a genius. Gotta give the man credit. He put it together way back then. Brought along those 3 Medicare pros, who of course by now everyone knows are Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the
email that Jasmine Baines is sending out to the media, where she is introducing a sweeping packages of bills dubbed the Lords of Bakersfield package. What people won't do to get to Washington. The 3-bill package addresses systematic failures highlighted by recent cases like those involving Jeffrey Epstein and former Kern County Supervisor Zachary Scrivener. I don't think that's his name. I don't think his name is Zachary. I think his name is Zach. I think that's his. Well, anyway, that doesn't matter. The only reason I mentioned that is because she spelled his name wrong before. As well as the historical corruption that has long been rumored in Kern County. The package directly targets the abuse of mental health diversion programs and sweeping immunity deals for accomplices of predators, and mandates the rapid prosecution of elected officials investigated for sex crimes against children. For too long, the wealthy, the politically connected, and the powerful have played by a completely different set of rules in our justice system. Well, then why don't you start with your own Democratic Attorney General? Really? She's reaching back to the Lords of Bakersfield and then tying in Epstein to Scrivener? Wow. What people won't do to get to Washington. We were just talking, I was like, I thought she was going to attack Valadeo on Medicare and health. But no, she thinks this is hot. Why not stick our bread in the gravy while it's hot? It's about as dumb a thing as I've ever seen. It's about as dumb a thing as I've ever seen. Because all Mr. Valadeo has to say is, well, you know, if we had a Republican Attorney General, this wouldn't have happened. And if you got a tree to bark up, I suggest you start with Rob Bonta. Good googly moogly. Let me read some more of this. The Scrivener Act, this bill ends the 2-tiered system of justice that has allowed Zachary Scrivener to look him up and see if that's his name. I do not think that's his name. I do not think it's Zachary. I think his given name is Zach, but I could be wrong. To game the system and avoid jail time. He did not game the system. The AG failed us and Scrivener's daughters. That's what happened. Period. End of sentence. And I'm not trying for a millisecond to defend Zachary or Zach.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything that says his full name is Zachary.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not. But the reality is, we should all be focusing on Rob Bonta. Why was Joe Penny sent down here? Why wasn't a veteran attorney sent down here? Why weren't sexual charges leveled? Why did you choose charges that specifically allowed Mr. Scrivener mental diversion? This is nonsense, Jasmine Baines. This is ridiculous. And you know it. That's what's so ridiculous. You know this is ridiculous. That the only people that you can complain to is Rob Bonta and Joe Penny and their incredible incompetence. Good googly moogly. You should read this nonsense. This is hilarious. She wants to expand the prohibition on mental health diversion by eliminating the need to be charged with select felonies and instead requires the court to consider the findings of the investigation. While the investigation of Zachary Scrivener found he had committed sexual acts with a child, the Department of Justice did not charge him with a sex crime. Who's to blame for that? This change would make him ineligible based on the facts of the case instead of relying on the prosecution to file the right charges. So basically, she wants to take away the power of the AG because the AG is so damn incompetent. That is hilarious. She is protecting us from Rob Bonta. Well, thank you, Jasmine. We appreciate that because we need it. We absolutely need it. Rob Bonta is an incompetent attorney. How he became the attorney general is anybody's guess. And we thank you, Jasmine, for trying to create a law that will defend us from our top prosecutor of the state. If that's not funny, I don't know what funny is. Good googly boogly. Let's find some more laughs, shall we? It requires that once an investigation into an elected official for child sex crimes is complete and deemed appropriate for prosecution, formal charges must be filed within 30 days. Now, how the hell do you enact that? You're going to force prosecutors to rush in a case where they don't have all the facts. It eliminates the requirement in current law to demonstrate intent when charging a suspect with child sexual abuse if the suspect willingly took a mind-altering substance. Good googly moogly. I cannot wait till Valadejo beats her like a drum. Just go away and practice medicine, Dr. Baines. Quick time out. More TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Virginia court is temporarily blocking Democrats from preparing for an April voter referendum to redraw the state's congressional maps. The ruling hands Democrats another setback in their efforts to pick up 4 more U.S. House seats in the national redistricting battle. The Tazewell Circuit Court in Virginia granted a temporary restraining order requested by the Republican National Committee. The former Prince Andrew was arrested and held for hours by British police on suspicion of misconduct in public office related to his links to Jeffrey Epstein. The arrest Thursday was an extraordinary move in a country where authorities once sought to shield the royal family from embarrassment. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 267 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Someone who visited schools and colleges as an Army National Guard recruiter has been arrested and charged with having sex with a minor. 24-year-old Jacob Robles was arrested after an investigation by the Bakersfield PD Special Victims Unit. The water at the Lerdo jail has again been deemed unsafe to drink, this time because of trace amounts of diesel detected in testing, says the Kern County Sheriff's Department. They are bringing in fresh water for the prisoners and staff. It's to help with public safety. Bakersfield is planning to build 3 new police and public safety radio towers, one at the city maintenance yard, one on Panorama Drive at the landfill, and another at the Kaiser Permanente Sportsplex. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, visit FVGradio.com.
If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise.
See website for complete details.
We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird.
An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it?
Call now now. 800-417-6411. 800-417-6411. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-417-6411 and give us your answer.
The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Nobody's talking about that self-worth and purpose. Who's talking about that? Nobody says that. There's more to you than what you're doing. Let's help you get there.
Let's help you get there. Let's just all agree that there's many different roads for different people dealing with homelessness and living on the streets to get them.
Right, I agree with you.
And as long as we can start there, then I think we can start to make a bigger difference.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Till I'm sleepy, Gene, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
So the onion of the Epstein situation is starting to get peeled, and it is having global ramifications. And I'm not just talking about today's arrest of Prince Andrew on his birthday, but it is having effects in other countries and could have an impact on the LA Olympics. And I'll explain here in just a second how it could end up with Kevin McCarthy leading LA 28, the Olympic Committee. He's on the board, which I didn't know. And Mr. Wasserman is in a bit of trouble. Karen Bass wants him out, although the board elected to keep him on. He's involved in all this Epstein thing, as I'll highlight here in just a second. But we obviously have to begin with the former prince. And I don't want to get this wrong, so I want to read this straight out of today's New York Times. British police arrested Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. I had never heard that reference before. I've always known him as Prince Andrew and husband of Sarah Ferguson, but I never knew his name was Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew, on February 19th over suspicions of misconduct in public office after accusations they shared confidential information with Mr. Epstein while serving as a British trade envoy, meaning that none of this arrest has nothing to do with him sleeping with young women. Although, if you ask me, I think that is patently clear. The former prince was stripped of his royal titles and kicked out of his royal residence after disclosures in 2025 about the extent of his alleged sexual abuse of a young woman trafficked to him by Mr. Epstein. That woman being Virginia Roberts Giuffre, one of Mr. Epstein's victims, who said that the financier had trafficked her to Mr. Mountbatten Windsor around 2001 when she was a teenager, and that he forced her to have sex multiple times. In 2022, he said Ms. Giuffre, he paid Ms. Giuffre an undisclosed sum to settle a lawsuit in New York court in which she said he had sexually abused her when she was 17. Mr. Mountbatten Windsor, who did not admit to any of Ms. Giuffre's accusations against him in announcing the settlement, has denied any wrongdoing in relationship to his friendship with Mr. Epstein. Okay, here is some audio from the prince, who is, in my opinion, an absolute pathological liar. Listen to this reasoning on how he could not have been with Ms. Giuffre.
She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was. Oh, was she? Yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and I simply it was almost impossible for me to sweat, and it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I didn't do it, so therefore.
Let me get this straight.
That's some Kim Jong-un level.
I mean, that takes balls just to say it. There was a short period of my life where I was unable to sweat. I could not perspire. I'm pretty sure that's called death. I'm pretty sure if your body doesn't release, we'll talk to Dr. Jeet Singh on Monday about this. Oh boy, you better believe we're going to ask about this. Can the body not perspire? And then all of a sudden regenerate itself later? And did you hear the reason that he can't perspire? He not only lies, it's like, who did this just the other day? Kristi Noem, when she lied about meeting Kim Jong-un. It wasn't good enough that she met Kim Jong-un, but she said that he was intimidated by her. So she had to use the lie to pump herself up. So not only is he using the lie to get out of sex trafficking, but he claimed that he got it when he was shot at the Falklands. Let me just remind you that I did get shot at the Falklands. Really? Okay. What's that got to do with anything? And that cut off your adrenal glands or whatever? What makes you sweat? I think it's the adrenals. I don't know. We'll talk to Gene on Monday. But you went through a period in your life where you could not sweat. And then all of a sudden you've done things, he doesn't really get into it. He didn't go to any treatment. He didn't see a physician. He just said, and just because of the things that I've done lately that I'm able to sweat again. Really? Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, you must be not guilty. Wow. I mean, just to be able to say that to the BBC is, it takes something, boy. And have you guys seen some of the pictures? I mean, what's coming out now? They're trying to get Trump because there's a lot of videos of Trump making out with these women, but they're women. And he was single. There's nothing wrong with, excuse me, I'll be inappropriate here for a second. Ain't nothing wrong with being a hoe. As long as you're not married, grown-ass man, rich white man, there's nothing wrong with that. But the videos that they have of Prince Andrew is with Ms. Gouffre, where she's laying on top of him. And in that interview, I didn't get the audio, but in that interview with that BBC reporter, he claims, she asks him about the several pictures that are very incriminating. There's one where he's got his arm around her. There's one where they're kind of laying on the ground. She's not like on top of him, but she's laying next to him, kind of, sort of. And he says, I don't remember. And she says, well, that's clearly you in the picture, isn't it? Yes, that is clearly me. But you know what you can do with photos these days. I do not remember taking any of those pictures. This guy is a pathological liar. Most folks have known it from the get-go when this first thing started to unravel. This guy's been a bad egg in the royal family and a pain in the ass to King Charles since the 90s, when his relationship with Sarah Ferguson went nuts. And they were acting stupid in public, and he's just been a nightmare boil on the ass of the royal family, and he's a pathological liar. I don't think there's any question that he's involved in this, and it's good. And the other thing that's involved with this, I think that Jeffrey Epstein was either a CIA agent or an Israeli spy. I truly do, because as we get into this international examination, and you see some of the people, because Keir Starker, the British Prime Minister, according to Piers Morgan, he's the walking dead, because one of his parliament member, or one of his staff, a very close staff member, was recently connected. And I mean, I think this thing is going to unravel like a ball of twine. I really do. I think it's just going to keep going and going. And here's another amazing fact that comes out of this thing. Despite Congress and the Senate passing a law that all the Epstein files should be let go and released, and the president signing it, obviously, because it's law, they've only released 50% of what they've got. They're like 6 million pages. We've only seen 3 million. And do you really think that everyone's gone through the 3 million so far? I mean, how long does it take for anybody, if that's all you did was read this thing, how long do you think it would take to read 3 million pages? So I suggest they haven't even gotten through the 3 million yet, let alone the other 3 million that they have not released, which is essentially meaning that the White House is breaking the law that the president signed. So there is obviously, I never wanted to get involved with this. And if you're a regular listener, I haven't talked much about this because it's complicated and, whose name is it? And what does that mean if your name is in it? But when your name is in it thousands of times, and there are pictures and there's testimony, and now this thing is going international. And one of the things that all the pundits are saying is it's taking down leaders in other countries, but ain't taking anybody down here. Wonder why that is. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, I'll break down some of the international leaders who have fallen because of this. We'll explain who Les Wexner is and what his role in this. And this is why I think that, I'll explain when we come back why I think Mr. Epstein was a spy. Doesn't have a college degree, didn't have a college degree. No one can really root back to how he got so wealthy other than his connection with Les Wexman and how he became this grand financier with all these international connections. We'll delve into that next. Then Mr. Turnipseed will join us at the top of the hour. Our money man, Daniel Petrie, at 4:30. And our Black History Month moment today, Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Ralph Bailey. And this is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk. I thought that was funny. 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk.
Adaptive.
RN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, it looks like our little pretend winter is over with. We got the latest on the whole Zach Scribner fiasco, and it is a fiasco. It is this weird story about the shooting outside one of our local high schools. We got news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
When your business technology breaks down like ours, you need help fast. That's one of the main reasons, beyond their just incredible competence, we turn to Adaptive Networks for all of our IT needs as well. You should. Adaptive Networks isn't some faceless call center in another state. They're right here in our community. In fact, they're right across the parking lot from us with local technicians who know Kern County businesses inside and out. While other IT companies make you wait hours or even days for support, Adaptive Networks delivers lightning fast response times. We're talking minutes, not hours, and that is vital to a survival of a radio station. And again, that's why we lean on Adaptive Networks. Call them today at 241-0638, 661-241-0638. Why settle for distant support when you can get local expertise with world-class response times? Call Adaptive Networks again at 241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Bring your visions to life with smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need to achieve your goals. Go to amazonbusiness.com for support.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are the rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, Chapter 7 bankruptcy could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Stop the harassing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly, and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to csbk.com. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York, New York 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com. Your clean slate starts here.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. 842-5376, 842-KERN. The Kern Radio Studios are powered by Adaptive Networks. Again, for all your IT needs, call them today at 241-0638, 661-241-0638, or online at adaptive-net.com. We're talking about Prince Andrew, who on his 66th birthday was arrested today. First time in 400 years. You have to go back to Charles II to see a royal taken away in handcuffs. And the reason that Piers Morgan and I agree with him that Keir Starker, the prime minister, the recently elected prime minister of Great Britain, is in trouble because Peter Mendelsohn, his ambassador to the United States in September, was fired from his job as British ambassador when the depth of his friendship with Mr. Epstein started to become clear. In February, Mr. Mendelsohn was forced to resign from the Labour Party and the House of Lords. Metropolitan Police in London have begun a criminal investigation into Mr. Mendelsohn. Morgan McSweeney, the former chief of staff to Prime Minister Keir Starmer of Britain, resigned under pressure on February 8th after days of political upheaval over his role in the appointment of Peter Mendelsohn, who I just talked about, as ambassador to the United States. Mr. Mendelsohn, as I just mentioned, was fired from his post in September when it was revealed that his friendship with Mr. Epstein was much closer than previously known and included sharing confidential government information with Mr. Epstein. Mr. McSweeney has no known ties to Mr. Epstein. And there are other, in Sweden, Joanna Rubinstein resigned as chair of the UN High Commission for Refugees after newly unsealed documents revealed that she and her family had visited Mr. Epstein on his private island in 2012, which was after his sex charges. That's why I think anybody that associated with him after he was convicted should be forced to resign or have some sort of ramifications. I don't think you can prosecute them for that unless there's harder evidence of some wrongdoing. But if you are merely dealing with a registered, for example, think anybody's going to deal with Zach Scrivener? You think any elected official in Kern County, in California, is ever going to deal with Zach Scrivener? I mean, he'll get a job. He's got friends. Somebody will give him a living, but nobody's going to deal with him politically. And if you were caught dealing with Mr. Scrivener, you ain't getting reelected. I'll tell you that. If I'm running your campaign, that's our first sentence. Chris Burdick was seen having lunch at Casey's Steakhouse with Zach Scrivener in February of 2026. How can he run for city council in 27? You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on right now. And for poor Miss Gouffre, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing her name, for her family, this is a bit of some kind of, I can't call it justice because he hasn't gone to jail yet. He probably won't go to jail, even if he's convicted. But her sister-in-law, Amanda Roberts, spoke out. Here's what she had to say.
And so days like this are always such a big mix of emotions. But the thing that we say every day is it's so hard to get wins during this fight. And so when they come, live in them and really enjoy them and celebrate them. And this is a victory for Virginia.
Jack Lang, who once served as France's culture minister, announced on February 7th that he would resign as head of the Arab World Institute, a prestigious cultural institution in Paris, after French authorities said they were investigating reports that he and his family had financial links to Mr. Epstein. I mean, it goes on and on. Rod Larson and his wife, Mana Jewel, are currently under investigation by the police in Norway after news media reports that the couple had been left $10 million in Mr. Epstein's will. Mr. Rod Larson previously resigned as president and chief executive of the International Peace Institute after documents revealed that he had secured donations and a personal loan for Mr. Epstein. So these people internationally are getting skewered and being forced to resign, but just merely doing business with him. And yet our head of FBI, Kash Patel, the guy that I'm sure many of you push back on when I say he's completely incompetent, he's part of the clown cabinet, has gone to Congress and said, we can only find two people, Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Despite the hundreds of victims, that's what our FBI directors told us. There's only two people we could find. That's it. Forget about Pam Bondi and the list on her desk. Forget about inviting the influencers to the White House and sending them with these booklets that basically had stuff they could find at Google. There's something really, really, really funky about this. I mean, really funky, that I think could reach all the way to the royal family, because the British press is going to start asking questions. What did you know and when did you know it? Now, for most part, they've pretty much cut themselves off from the former prince, stripping him of his titles and whatnot, but he was under investigation and he was linked to this long before they cut off ties with him formally. But do you see what's going on internationally? Like any mere association with this guy, and you're out, you're forced to resign. And now they're trying to get Mr. Wasserman, I think his name is Casey Wasserman, to resign as the head of the Olympic Committee. And the names that they have thrown out are Jeannie Buss, Jerry Buss's daughter, who was still part of the Laker organization, despite Mark Walter and his group moving in, new sheriff in town. And there was one other name. I don't think I wrote it down. But the other name that they're tossing around perhaps is another board member by the name of Kevin McCarthy, to take over what the board is called LA 28. That would be a gargantuan feather in his cap, and perhaps a way to jump back into politics, particularly given the fact that I think we all assume that 28 in Los Angeles is going to be a tremendous success. I mean, I remember I was 21 years old in 1984. I remember that summer. It was a glorious time for Los Angeles, an absolute glorious time. And every politician, including Peter Ueberroth, who were associated with that, got glowing reviews. I mean, there was a point where, you old folks probably remember, Pete Ueberroth was considered a presidential candidate for a while in the late 80s because of his work on the 84 Olympics. So this could be, if they force Wasserman out and bring in McCarthy to head this thing, and the 28 Olympics are as successful as most of us believe they're going to be, this could be his exit route back into politics, or his on-ramp, I should say. God, how did I say the exact opposite? His on-ramp, not his exit ramp, Ralph, his on-ramp back into politics. It really could. I mean, you could see him, you realize the Speaker of the House, even though it was a very short and controversial, what is wrong with me today? Controversial tenure as Speaker, he was still third in line of the presidency at one point in his life. So it wouldn't be surprising. It is incredibly rare. In fact, I would be hard-pressed to find a Congress member who's ever gone from Congress to the White House. I think even Harry Truman was a senator. I can't think of any. If you can, you guys came up with Chris Christie yesterday when I was talking about fat politicians. If you can come up with a Congress member who went straight to the executive branch, feel free. But, the props he's going to get, if in fact, and this is a long stretch, he somehow becomes the head of the LA 28, that could, you never know. You never know. We got a couple of minutes. You got anything on the board for Mr. Turnipseed gets in here?
Oh, yeah, I got a couple here.
What do you got?
did Congress come back in session? Did they approve $10 billion to Trump's grift board of peace, quote unquote, or wait, this Congress isn't allowed to be executive branch to say or do anything?
Next text. I'm not going to dignify that.
Why can't the state file new charges? Sexual assault on a minor, incest. Look up his court cases. It's filed under Zachary. Interesting.
Because that would be double jeopardy. That's why this appeal is just the AG's office covering their ass. I don't know. Well, maybe ask Teresa Goldner. Could they file new charges since they didn't file sexual charges in the first place? I don't think so. Well, one more.
Dr. Baines, along with her friend Vice Mayor Kaur, isolate themselves so they don't face facts. Yes, Vice Mayor Kaur will talk with you because she benefits from your press, but to us common people, no, I agree, Dr. Baines should just stay a doctor.
Yeah, and she'll be back in the medical profession very soon because David Valadao is going to beat her by a wide margin. This nonsense, this Lords of Bakersfield reference and this package that she's trying to get through is a really cheap exploitation of a bad situation and trying to somehow bring the name that turns everybody's stomach, Jeffrey Epstein, into another name that turns everybody's stomach, and as apparently Zachary Scrivener. But this ain't going to fly. Where she wants to create a law that will basically force the AG's office. Well, then take your complaint to the AG's office. Don't cry and whine and try to exploit. It's just trying to exploit the situation. If she weren't running for Congress, you really think she'd be involved in this? You really think she'd be handing out this nonsense if she wasn't running for Congress? Give me a break, lady. Just practice medicine, would you please? And let's all make sure we get out and vote. And make sure that David Valadao gets back to Congress and this woman has no chance of ever going to Washington unless she's going with honor flight or on a tourist thing. Please. We head into the 4 o'clock hour. Daniel Petrie at 4:30 and Michael Turnipseed joins us next. I would stick around if I you.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The rapid buildup of U.S. forces in the Middle East has many observers believing military strikes are imminent. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is in Nashville today to address the annual National Religious Broadcasters. Former Congressman Michelle Bachmann, a spokesman for the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, is also attending NRB, and she concedes this is a tense time in Israel.
Well, it is because they know what's about to happen. I spoke this morning with the ambassador to the UN, the Israeli ambassador, Gilad, and he said that any minute, they're expecting something could happen any minute. So they're ready. They're gearing up mentally, gearing up physically, and they're prepared because they understand the worst threat they have is from Iran.
Tension in the region has progressed to the point that President Trump now has the option to take military action against Iran as soon as this weekend. The U.S. trade deficit trended in a more favorable direction in 2025, despite President Trump's imposition of many international tariffs. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
The Commerce Department reports that the gap between the goods and services the U.S. sells other countries and what it buys from them narrowed to just over $901 billion from $904 billion in 2024. While the U.S. ran a bigger surplus in the trade of services such as banking and tourism, the gap in goods such as machinery and aircraft hit a record despite sweeping import taxes.
Have you seen
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A Virginia judge is temporarily blocking Democrats' work on a redistricting referendum in their bid to flip 4 congressional seats. On Wall Street, down by 267 points, the S&P lower by 19. More at Town Hall.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax? I like it too.
Political advice.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
It's true.
Exactly.
Millions
Trying
of
to dig
Americans
that up,
agree
try
with
to bring
President
Epstein
Trump, and they're
in it.
switching to
We dig that
Newsmax.
up.
They're watching great shows with Greta,
reaching.
Carl Higbie, Rob Schmidt, Finnerty, and more. If you're tired of big
Rudy
media,
Vegas?
start watching Newsmax.
Good.
It's free to start. Go to newsmaxplus.com for immediate access. Get all of President Trump's most important events live. Imagine watching Mike Huckabee's Israel Report, our Melania documentary,
So it'll be
Clint
Valadeo.
Eastwood, Charlie
How does
Kirk
that work?
specials, even the movie Jesus of Nazareth by Franco Zeffirelli.
So
Once
it'll
you
be
start
Valadeo,
Newsmax
right?
Plus, you won't stop. So try it for free. Go to newsmaxplus.com, then download the app. It's easy. So
Local news update on News Talk 90 and 1180 KERN.
A California Army National Guard recruiter in some hot water. I'm Chris Davis. That man is 24 and is accused of having a sexual relationship with a minor, according to the Bakersfield Police Department Special Victims Unit. Because of the victim's age and the ongoing investigation, not a whole lot has been said publicly about what happened. Jacob Robles was arrested, though, and at vocational schools and colleges in Bakersfield. Eastside Crips are likely going to prison for a long time in the 2024 killing of 29-year-old Dontrell Smith, a rival gang member. March 18th is the sentencing date. 37-year-old Rodney Gibson pleaded no contest Wednesday to first-degree murder with a gun and gang charges for a possible sentence of 35 years to life. 33-year-old Marlon Birch pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter, also with a gun and gang charges, for a total of 42 years. At the Lerdo jail, the water is again unsafe to drink, says the sheriff's department. And again, there is a do not drink notice that goes for prisoners and staff. And fresh water is being brought in and put in coolers.
And
they because of trace amounts of diesel that were found in the water. And to rectify it, the tanks are going to good cleaning. Meanwhile, the health department has recommended no showering in it for the prisoners, and so other accommodations are being made. Some closures are either happening now or coming up that Kern County Public Works wants you to know about. One is Driver Road at 9th Avenue in Delano, and that is 24 hours a day until February 20th at 5 because of work on an open trench. Dean Avenue from Rosedale Highway to Holland Street is closed 9 to 2 on the 24th for utility work. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Bing! You blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
What are we talking about?
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you beat the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this rainy, weird, sunny, rainy, cloudy Thursday afternoon in Bakersfield, California. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, streaming live at kernradio.com. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, our money man, Daniel Petrie. I've got some comments about Bill Plaschke's column today in the LA Times calling for the firing of UCLA head coach Mick Cronin. I'll explain why, and you'll hear from the coach after a controversial loss to Michigan State. And our Black History Month moment falls on Ida B. Wells. We delve into the field of journalism, but it is a Thursday. The Executive Director of the Kern Tax Association, Michael Turnipseed.
How we doing, Ralph?
Are you a huge Andy Griffith fan?
Not a huge, but I've watched the series many times. I like it. Barney Fife. I'm a Barney Fife guy.
Nip it in the bud. Do you remember Peg, one of Andy's girlfriends?
Peg.
She was the one that was too rich. And
Barney, the rich gal.
Yeah, you remember her?
Yeah.
Do you know that's Tatum O'Neal's mother?
Tatum O'Neill's
Yes,
mother.
yes.
Did
She
not know
married
that.
Ryan O'Neal at a young age. And I'm going to read just the story that I found last night to the audience coming up in
You
the
must
five.
really be digging deep, Ralph.
No, I was just bumming around, as I do before I go to bed. Right around 10, I turn the TV off and I just kind of search through reels and stuff. And the story of this woman came up. I saw the picture of her on the Andy Griffith set.
She really had a big convertible.
She was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I started reading about her trials and tribulations and her drug habits and her alcoholism and the number of men she went through. And I was like, well, no wonder Tatum O'Neal was a mess. And the boy, too. Did you look that up at all? Didn't the boy kill one of Francis Ford Coppola's sons in a boating accident or something?
I don't know, Ralph. I don't remember.
It just goes to show you, it's all about parenting, man. It really is. If your parents are screwed, you don't have a chance in hell. You really don't. There have obviously been exceptions. I know some good people that have come from bad parents. But 7 out of 10, if your parents are screwed, you're screwed.
Because you only know what you know.
Exactly. You copy what you see. The only thing good about me is my work ethic. And I got that from my dad, just because I literally don't remember him ever staying home sick. Literally. Never. That's crazy.
You got to be pretty sick not to go to work.
Well, not now, not in the 21st century. If I get the sniffles, I'm staying home. I don't care. I'm an old man. I don't care.
How old are you, Ralph?
None of your business. You know how old I am, and don't say it. I'm 63. You know that.
Well, I'm 10 years older than you.
I realize that.
Yeah, aches and pains,
Oh, tell me about it. Don't even go there. Good Google movie. I went home last night with a guy who had shingles. My Uber driver.
You went home last night?
Well, my Uber driver who took me home has shingles.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, God. He said, because he had the seatbelt all weird, like hanging off his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why are you wearing your seatbelt like that? That's not going to stop you if we get you ram into somebody. And he said, well, I've got shingles and it's right here on my chest.
It's right out where your belt would be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? I heard.
No, I took my shots. I got my single shots.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hopefully get.
I've just been listening to nothing but pain. Howard yesterday described passing a kidney stone. Have you ever had a kidney stone?
3 times.
No.
Yeah.
Is it as bad? I told Howard this and he agreed. My dad had one and he said it's like urinating out a razor blade. That's what my pop said.
Well, it happened. I haven't had one in, God, probably 40 years, but I had them,
When you were young?
When I was young.
That's crazy.
Because what happened when I went to college, first 2 years, I had 2 years in a row.
A UC Davis alum.
Yes, because during the summer, and I worked on a ranch and drank lots of water.
Yeah.
And then I go sit in the college dorm and not drink water. And my sophomore and junior year, the same week, I had kidney stones.
And were they really, really, was it excruciating?
No, not really excruciating because they weren't very big.
Oh, you're lucky.
But it's when they first move and the pain in the back.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
For you, but passing it wasn't that big a deal?
They weren't that big a deal. They weren't that big or that pointed or whatever. Because like the first one, you collected it and they went and tested it and did all that. And the next 2 I passed, I really didn't even know I passed them.
Really?
But the pain, when you know that pain in the small of your back, like somebody stuck you with a knife.
Could they laser them back then? No? I didn't think so. Because now they laser them and make them much smaller.
They blow them up.
Yeah.
They disintegrate it and it goes out in particles, I think.
Yeah, but that's still pretty painful, I hear.
But they're very painful.
You still want to talk about the sewer, don't you?
No, well, I mean, the sewer problem's not going to go away. It's going to be around for the next 2 months, and people are going to talk about the whole process of 218, and hopefully it's not like you're going to vote. They're going to send you a postcard, an innocuous little postcard that's going to be, you think it's going to be junk mail, but that's coming from the city of Bakersfield, and it's going to say, if you don't want to pay the sewer, you got to vote no and return it by a certain day and have certain thing, have your address right, have your property tax on it, your APN number, all kinds of stuff on it. If you don't have it,
They're trying to suppress the vote, aren't they?
well,
They're hoping that people, you put it, you said it,
yes,
that it's going to look like junk mail, and a lot of people are going to throw that thing away, and that's exactly what they want.
but that's what happens. You know, the county, it's very difficult to beat up 218 because you have to have 51% no's, 50% plus one, that take the time to fill out the cards and send them back in. 2 years ago, when the county was doing garbage rates, but they have districts. So some of the districts like only had like 80 customers in
Yeah.
it, rural areas that were having to have pickup. Well, they all knew each other. They all got together. They all signed the postcards, and they defeated the rate increase.
Will this be defeated? And what
There'll
if
be
it-
over 100,000 people that, or 50,001 have to return their cards or not. And I want to see 50,000 people flood City Hall with their postcards and make the city have to go through and do the process.
Will they?
They have to.
But will they? What do you mean they have to?
They have to count the votes.
No. But will we reach 50,000 plus one?
I doubt it. But that's a big number. But it's the whole idea of how you educate. And I guess we have to go to Instagram and all these things.
Yeah,
to all the people. Like, JR's been posting some stuff that's got lots of viewers. Well, you got to have that post. You go next. You just have to use social media because to get out and reach every people. And you have to use. It's going to have to be at least in 2 languages if you're sending something out, because you have, obviously there are people who speak English and people who speak Spanish and Punjabi, and you can't give up anything on a 218 because you're struggling to get people to do stuff that they normally don't do.
When is that going out?
Probably end of the month, next week.
And they have to be returned by?
They have 40 days, I think, to get back. I don't know the exact number, but by the end of April, they plan on having it done, locked up, and so.
You don't doubt that 51% of that 100,000 are against this. It's just a matter of will they fill out the paperwork?
Will they fill out the paperwork in public education? Yes.
And that is
maybe all
that
looking for it, and they need to be. It's going to be. They're all going to get mailed the same day, and so you have to be looking in your mail for this little postcard that they're going to send you.
Do we know the date? Did you say the date? I'm sorry.
I'll find out the exact date.
Yeah, because we need to pump that up. We need to pump that up.
From the city of Bakersfield.
Because the city's not going to say anything.
No.
They're not going to publicize this.
No, they're just going to mail them.
Yeah. That's so.
And so
that's so Bakersfield.
But this is the kind of thing.
Clegg should be on television announcing, hey, in 3 days, we're letting this go. Be aware, it's coming in your mail. But they're not going to do that.
Well, it wouldn't be Clegg, it would be the PIO, whoever's the Republican.
No, it should be Clegg.
Well,
it should be Clegg.
Well, it should be the mayor. But.
Well, don't get me started.
Yes, but that's just the way it is.
Clegg is the one with the big check. He's the one with the big salary. He should be the point man on this. He's the one that's responsible for it. He should come out and make himself clear that this is coming out and that one way or the other, however you feel, you should fill it out. We want to hear from all of you. They're not going to do that. They don't want to hear from everybody.
Well,
they want to hear from a small percentage and hope that they don't get the 51%.
That's right. But so when it happens and it passes because people don't respond,
apathy.
You can't blame anything else but yourself.
Yeah. What happens if it does not pass? What if they do come out? What if we mount enough information that people are ready for this thing and 51% show up and say no? What happens?
As a nice little word, the city will be
screwed.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Because they have run the reserves down. They will be in a really bad shape, but it's staff's fault. Why didn't the city go through normal processes for last 30 years? Like 2 rate increases in the last 20 years? 2? Really?
Yeah. We've talked about that.
We talked about that. And the fact is, why isn't somebody in the staff saying, hey, we are running deficit spending for all these years. council, you got to do something about it and give us, you got to vote to raise the rates.
What's your best guess? Just sheer incompetence, stupidity, ignorance, or just not paying attention? How does that happen? That can't happen. How does that happen?
Well, since the council has to do it, there obviously were 4 people on the council that didn't really care. As long as you have reserves, and they had reserves to live on, to spend the reserves, and I don't want to be the guy who raises people taxes.
You never live off reserves. That's like living off your savings account. You never live off reserves.
And you build reserves for when it comes time to do the big remodels that cost $300 or $400 million. That's what you have reserves for.
That's why they call it rainy day funds.
That is look at it rain right now.
It's pouring.
It's pouring outside.
I love it.
It's bouncing it's bounced like a foot high off the concrete out there. It's raining pretty hard.
It's been a crazy day. I just walked a lap 15 minutes ago.
And yeah,
it's crazy.
Here's the cloud.
Yeah.
But no, people, this is taken in your own hands, and you better read your mail carefully. But understand, though, what you have to do.
Explain it again.
You're going to get a postcard.
Okay.
And it's going to tell you, if you're against it, you got to vote no and return it to the city by this date, whatever the date is. And I'll make sure you get the date.
Okay. Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
you can talk about your customers, clients, people who listen to your radio show. And, people have to talk when they go to church on Sunday, when you mingle with people. Did you hear what they're trying to do with our sewer rights? It's 270, which probably it should be 400 or 500 right now. But if they would have kept it up, but then they would have had hundreds of millions of dollars in the sewer account to do the repairs that they need to do.
Right.
So people in Bakersfield have benefited because they've had unreasonably cheap rates, ridiculously cheap rates. But now it's time to pay the piper. But do you pay the piper in a sound way that makes financial sense? Or are you just going to say, okay, we haven't collected money from you in 20 years, so we want you in the next 10 years, we're going to quadruple your rates, basically.
Yeah.
Triple and a half your rates, and you're going to pay for it. We're going to get the money from you one way or another.
Well, you got Christian Clegg's ear. Why don't you suggest what is the responsible way to go about it? Why haven't you yelled at him about this?
I have had many conversations, and he will tell you, but this is what the whole idea about the bonding problem. They say, well, we can bond. And I don't think they can, because they don't have enough reserves, because when you want to go to bond, you have to put 1.45%. So if your annual payment is 10 million, right? You're an issuance of bond and your annual payment is 10 million, you got to put $14.5 million basically in a lockbox. And they use that because of calendar scheduling and raising taxes and doing everything that, if depending when you issue your debt, you might be off cycle, so you have to have money put away to make payments that you don't collect on the tax rolls. That's why you do that to protect, so you can issue things 12 months a year.
Right.
But you only collect taxes in November and April. So, you have to have money to cover it. And they don't have the money. They don't have $14.5 million in the sewer fund that they can use to backfill the payments.
Absolutely remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. We deserve every cliche and every insult that this city gets. We really do. We absolutely deserve it. It's remarkable. I see these lists come up. We're one of the top 15 stupidest cities in the state. We're one of the ugliest cities in the state. It's just every list that I see, and they start listing. I'm like, I know we're going to pop up. And there we are, 9th, 8th, 5th, 6th. It's remarkable, and we deserve it. We deserve it. I look at that list, and I always go, they don't know Bakersfield. That's not right. And that's not fair. And it's just our image and blah, blah, blah. No, we deserve it. We absolutely deserve it. We have the worst municipal leadership I've ever seen in my life.
Well, All I can say is we haven't been, I said, I forgot, we have been bankrupt before.
Really? When?
Back in the 1800s, the city
Oh,
or whatever,
I was about to say.
when they started, they disincorporated, and then 15 years later, they reincorporated.
Between our leadership and Gavin Newsom, we're going to be Barstow in here in just a second. I think we got a phone call. Who you got, Chris?
Eric is on the line first.
Eric, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show with Mike Turnipseed.
Hi,
turn the music off.
taking my call. There's no music on. Sorry.
No, I was talking to my producer.
Thank you for taking my call. My question is, why is the city doing the postcard? Is it a responsibility dodge on their part for the council?
No, one of the it's state requirements called Prop 218. You want to just Google Prop 218 in California. It basically sets up a method of basically it's negative voting. You have to reject it instead of pass it, and it was written that way on purpose so cities can pass and get most of the money and rates they have.
Yeah,
and you don't have to really worry that often about being turned down. They do happen. They do happen. They're just very difficult to get 50% plus one of the voters of 100,000 voters. How are you going to get a hold of them? Make sure they all send it in within the period of time, and they don't throw the little card away in the trash.
That's the Ralph Bailey Show and through television. We're going to pump this up. Thanks for the call, Eric. Who else you got?
Bill is on the line.
Bill, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show with Mike Turnipseed.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, the bond financing is really the only responsible way for dealing with long-term assets. Nobody is expected to buy a car without financing it, and nobody should buy a sewer plant without financing it. Maintenance you pay for now, but the actual capital improvements really should be done with bond financing. So I agree with you, Mike, completely.
Well said, sir. Well said.
You're right on point because there's
how does he have more sense than our city council?
Well, because he obviously understands money better than the city council.
Who doesn't?
So the point becomes you're absolutely right. In our proposal to the city, we separated maintenance and operation plus capital. So the rates get merged, but we showed O&M raises and the capital payments in their end and what they would be. We gave them at 10 years, the end of 10 years, the city for the whole way through, they're between $100 and $150 a year less than the proposal we gave. So we're at $850 and they're at over $1,000 in year 10.
Right, crazy. Well, I have a project, and I'm going to share this information with JR. I'm going to share this information with Scott. We're going to pump this up, give him the date. We'll inform people. I'm going to send a press release to the television stations to make sure they get the word out. And I think we got a chance.
How many radio stations are in this building?
You're right. I should give them to all of them. There are 5.
They're 5. They all have different audiences.
You're absolutely right.
You need to use all 5.
You're absolutely right. Mike Turnipseed, everybody.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey from Sangera Subaru. You know, the Subaru A Lot to Love event is going on now through March 31st at Sangera Subaru. And of course, spring is the best time to get an incredible offer on that new Subaru you've been wanting, like the 2025 Forester Sport CVT. Lease one now for only $219 a month for 36 months and just $5,700 due at signing. And remember, every Subaru always comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. And don't forget, this offer ends March 31st. So stop by and see my good friends Damon Culbertson, Hassan Levy, and all the guys during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Pick out your new Subaru for spring and hit the open road. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersville Auto Mall, 24/7 at sangerasubaru.com.
Through March 31st, 2026, lease a 2025 Forester Sport CVT for $219 a month on the 36-month lease. $0 due at lease signing plus tax and license. 7,500-mile year limit. 15 cents per mile overage. MSRP $40,814. VIN number SH617136. Model code SFF-24.
200
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, Risankizumab Risa, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI. I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Saturday. Not too early. Not too early. Whose turn is it to buy? Is it my turn to buy lunch? How you know? You're just saying that. All right. Mr. Turnipseed and I alternate on who buys lunch after we play golf. And he's insisting it's my turn. Although I think it's his, actually.
I believe it's yours.
Probably is. What do you got on the board before we get to Mr. Petrie?
Just a couple here. First one says Whoopi Goldberg needs to resign. She's on the files too.
Yeah, but that has something to do with a plane. She tried to explain it. I watch The View, obviously, every day. It's getting tougher and tougher. By the way, Alyssa Farah Griffith, the pseudo-Republican, like Anna Navarro, who's not, I hate the term rhino, but she truly is Republican in name only. They brought on this new gal, Savannah something, and she's like a hard-nosed Republican, like defends Trump, and she ain't going to be there long. I can tell you that. Elizabeth Griffith just had a baby, and she's on maternity leave, and she's kind of a soft Republican. She left the Trump. She's part of the Trump administration, but she was part of the group that hated him at the end and left, vilified by Trump. But this hard-nosed conservative, I'll get her name for you at some point. She ain't going to last long because she fights with these ladies. It's outstanding, but she ain't going to be there long. Quick timeout. We're heading 21st and Oak. Daniel Petrie is next.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Authorities in California say it will be at least another day before crews can attempt to recover the bodies of 8 people killed in an avalanche and search for one other who remains missing but is presumed dead. A Virginia court is temporarily blocking Democrats from preparing for an April voter referendum to redraw the state's congressional maps. The ruling hands Democrats another setback in their efforts to pick up 4 more U.S. House seats in the national redistricting battle.
Yeah.
The Tazewell Circuit Court in Virginia granted a temporary restraining order requested by the Republican National Committee. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 267 points, the Nasdaq dropped 70, the S&P down by 19. More details at srnnews.com.
What are you going to do?
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. It's another do not drink the water order for the prisoners and staff at the Lerdo jail, and the Sheriff's Department says this one is because of trace amounts of diesel in the water. Clean water is being brought in, and the water tanks will be cleaned thoroughly to rectify the situation. 2 East Side Crips are going to prison for the 2024 killing of Dontrell Smith, a rival gang member. Rodney Gibson pleaded no contest to first-degree murder and will likely get 35 to life. Marlon Birch pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and will likely get 42 years. California Army National Guard recruiter Jason Robles, who is 24, has been charged with having a sexual relationship with a minor. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1
and AM 1180 KERN.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Pet stains on your carpet? Carpet Outlet Plus has everything you need to make your floors pet-proof. With over 100 in-stock waterproof floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet-perfect carpet. Call, click, or come by today for your free in-home estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Hey, it's JR from the JR Show. Want to tell you to listen all week for your chance to win Condors tickets to this Friday night's game. The Condors fighting cancer as they take on the Wranglers at Dignity Health Arena. Listen to my show, the JR Show, every day at 2 or the Ralph Bailey Show at 3 for your chance to win tickets. It's the Condors Fight Cancer Night this Friday. This ticket giveaway is brought to you by Affordable Dentures and Implants. Check them out online at affordabledentures.com. Affordable Dentures and Implants. Go ahead and smile.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
It's a Thursday. Time to head to 21st and Oak, the offices of Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And our friend, Mr. Petrie. How are you, Mr. P?
I'm doing well, Mr. Bailey. How are you?
I'm good. Enjoying the weather, actually, as long as it cuts off before the weekend and doesn't cancel my golf plans.
That's right. Where are you playing this weekend?
Bakersfield Country Club.
Oh, nice.
The lovely Bakersfield Country Club.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a fun week last week. It was the BC Open.
Yeah.
And the kid that won it last year, Patrick Flavin, won again. He went back to back.
A repeat?
Yeah, a cool 30,000. And
wow.
It's the premier. You know, there are 3 tours essentially to become a professional golfer. There is the tour, which is the major leagues essentially. Then there's the Korn Ferry Tour, which is essentially AAA, and then there's the Asher Tour, which the Bakersfield Open is a part of. And you know, it's a big step. There are there are about 4 or 5 pros that have come from the Asher Tour, so it's a big step.
Amazing. How many locations on the Asher Tour?
That is a great question. I would guess maybe 24, but the BC Open is the highest award, the biggest purse.
Wow.
And the most consequential, clearly.
I've never even heard of that before.
Well, yeah, because, you know, it's like, have you heard of a AA baseball team?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There are actually 30 featured events.
30?
On the Asher Tour.
Yeah, 30.
Wow.
30. Yeah. And this is
there it is. Asher Tour Pro Golf Tournament.
Yeah. It's a big step for these guys. Yeah. Big step for these guys. And our local guys were close, but no cigar.
So how many do they play? I mean, if you want to become one, I mean, it seems like they have every other week or 2 a month?
Well, there are a couple of tours. There's like an Asian tour. There's a Latin tour. I know some of our local guys. I know Manav Shah is on the Latin tour, where he told us, we interviewed him last week, where he got to go to India and all over the world and on some of these tournaments. But
the next one is the Bayonet Championship in Seaside,
California.
Yeah.
Is that right? What's the purse?
February 18th to the 20th.
Yeah.
Purse is 88.5.
See, ours was
about half.
Yeah, ours was about $150. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's becoming, you know, Paul Guerra has put his heart and soul in this thing. Is really responsible for getting it up on its feet. And I was just out there one of the days, but it's even beginning to form galleries where folks are taking advantage. It's absolutely free. and they're coming out and watching these guys because we've got so many. There are about 6 or 7 local guys that really have a chance to win the thing. Even John Ballfans, who's been a competitive golfer as long as I've lived here and is in his 50s, he was in contention at one point and then had a bad final round, but it's really gaining attention here in this community.
It's amazing that the difference in level of play. I mean, our best day couldn't even, I mean, it'd be like their worst day would beat us like.
Well, and the difference between the Azure Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour is amazing. And then obviously the difference between the Korn Ferry Tour and the big guys is just startling.
The big ticket.
I mean, if you brought the PGA players out here to play Bakersfield Country Club, they'd all shoot like 64, 65, 63, 62. I mean, you know.
And make it look easy.
And make it look easy. Absolutely.
This is like, just out cleaning the windows or something.
Absolutely. Crazy. What's going on with the economy? Are any of these things impacting our economy? The fact that we might be bombing Iran again, the Epstein files, just all this incredible international nonsense that's going on these days?
It's hard to yes and no. I mean, this would be the biggest non-war. I mean, it seems like every day I hear there's more ships headed to, to scare Iran or go to war with Iran. And
the Gerald R. Ford is steaming its way there, our largest aircraft carrier.
When I was younger, it seemed like these things were surprises,
Yeah.
But maybe it's a way to exert pressure on them to get them to. But I don't see them compromising or giving.
I don't either. But that's the Trump way, and I like it. Where he says, "I'm going to drop an anvil on you."
Yeah.
And then he says, "Well, let's talk."
Yeah, and then it prepares to drop the anvil.
Exactly.
And warns you again.
Yeah.
I told you.
And what makes it great is they know he'll pull the trigger.
Right, because he's done it before.
He's done it before.
Yeah.
Look what he did in Iran.
Yeah, before. Correct.
Yeah, they weren't expecting that, I don't think.
No.
But I'm just concerned now that Russia's getting involved, China's getting involved. Gets a little dicier when the big superpowers start posing up to Iran.
Yeah, you never quite know, like, will it overflow into something else, or is Iran better equipped than we think they are, which I doubt. I mean, I think Israel has basically said, if you guys don't do anything, we're going to, bomb them. But
I had a nightmare just the other night about nuclear war.
Oh.
And you know what? It just dawned on me why. Dawned on me why. I watched On the Beach the other night. That's exactly why it happened. Have you ever seen On the Beach?
I don't think so.
It's a submarine movie with Gregory Peck where they are they're deep underwater when a nuclear war erupts.
Oh, wow.
And they're like the only survivors, and that's basically the plot of the movie.
Oh.
But yeah, I had a horrible nuclear.
Well, when we were kids, it was a big deal.
It really was.
The whole fallout, the desks, the raids,
You had to do the under the desk thing?
Well, no, maybe once.
I was about to say that was our parents, Daniel. I never got under a desk.
Well, I think they spoke about what to do.
It was by the 70s.
I even think we went into the bomb shelter one time. Like, okay, this is what you do, and
Yeah. Do you want to hear an interesting fact about Ralph Bailey and the Bailey family?
Please tell us.
Our house in Ladera had a bomb shelter. Had a bomb shelter. Yes.
What did you store in there? Did you store old salty?
I didn't have the balls to go down there. I didn't. No way in the world. I was a kid. We moved out of Ladera when I was 16. So I didn't have to go. Now, if I'd been like 20, 22, I'd been like, come on, let's take a flashlight and go down here. But we had 2 entrances. We had a guest bedroom, and in the closet, it had a walk-in closet, and there was a little nodule at the front of the closet, and it was a ring, and you lifted the ring, and the floor lifted up, and it was a staircase down into the to the bomb shelter. And the other entrance, and this is the one my friends and I would always kind of we'd see how far down we could go. but nobody ever made it to the bottom. It literally looked like a submarine hatch out in our backyard, and you unscrew it like a submarine hatch, and it would open, and it had a ladder that went straight down. And my friends and I would play who could go down the farthest.
Right.
But nobody ever made it down. Nobody ever made it down the bottom.
When was the house built? Do you know?
Had to have been in the damn 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
you would
that's what I was
think.
thinking, but I was just curious.
We moved in, and we moved out of Cerritos in 70. I was in 8th grade, so like 74, 73, 74, 75.
Fascinating.
And moved out in 79. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I hope we never. I mean, it seems like we get scares, and Pakistan and India are on the verge of it. Or I always have this fear that we're not going to, but somebody accidentally does something that somebody doesn't take back. Or
I believe that in my heart. I know it sounds incredibly suicidal, maybe not suicidal, but just really pessimistic. But I do believe there are just so many countries now that are getting this thing, this bomb. And I find it hard to believe that over the next 30, 40, 50, 100 years, that it's not going to get into some zealot's hands. Really?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that whole Pakistan-India row scared the crap out of me.
It is scary.
Because they both have nuclear weapons.
Or what about a military coup? And, then the wacko wants to unleash it.
Exactly. We've used every weapon ever created. Why would this be any different?
We are violent creatures.
We really are. We truly are. It's crazy.
Very sad.
All right, let's hear the bad news. What's going on with the deficit, or did we go 2 weeks with?
No. In fact, I was very curious to see what would happen, and we again went up 29 or so billion. So it's kind of back to normal. That must have been a reset of one of the equations, or a one-off. That little correction we had last week.
I don't understand how it could go down, and then jumps right back up to the 29 billion that has been for like almost a year.
It's like they needed to correct something, and then everything stays status quo. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm playing good golf, but I had a double bogey. So I'm back to good golf.
What is going on with gold and silver?
Gold is, last I looked, which was a few minutes before we came on, we were a little over 49.90, so we're just under 5,000, up a little under 1% for the week.
That's always good.
Silver's hanging in there, 78.29 last I looked, so a little up about 3% since last week. So both of those look constructive to me. I could still see us moving northward. And let's look at futures. They peaked a little while ago before we came on, and I think the stock market was slightly up. Hold on.
The president was down in Georgia, as the song goes, patting himself on the back for the economy. But I noticed that he was talking mostly about the stock market, and I just don't think that's not going to win it.
Well, yeah, it doesn't compute or relate to those who are suffering at the kitchen table.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to fix the message there, because I think he has a message. They just have to, make it relate more, because the Democrats seem to be owning that. And then they turn it on Trump and say, well, not everybody, the stock market's for your billionaire friends.
Which to a great degree is true.
I know.
I mean, how many middle class folks are invested? Not many, I would think.
Middle class, I think there are, but it's not front and center, because it's more retirement stuff.
Yeah, true.
401ks.
Yeah, you're right.
But they're
everybody's got a 401k.
Yeah, their month to month budget is what makes them feel, things are tight, or we can't go out to eat, or Johnny can't get his Christmas present, or whatever the issue is.
Because if you've got kids, you've got a hell of a budget.
Oh, I can't imagine.
I can't either. You got 3 or 4 kids. How do you go to a Dodger game with 3 or 4 kids? How do you go to Disneyland with 3 or 4 kids?
Oh, yeah, you're talking.
You know what I'm saying? You're talking about thousands of dollars, literally.
Yeah, that just seems. Did your parents tell you they pay for your college, or did you?
Yes.
Well, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
We were told, that's why I started working about 10 years old, because it was like, and before I had a job as a paper route, I had to pick up aluminum cans, and I was told, this is for college because we're not paying your way.
Well, fortunately, back in those days, the two colleges that I attended were fairly cheap. Morehouse did not have the prestige that it has now. It has become a much, HBCUs didn't have the prestige that it has now, that it had when I was there in the 80s. And Cal State Bakersfield, back in the 90s, hell, I helped pay for that. I was working for the EOC office, and I could help pay my registration. It was so
mid
cheap.
80s I started there.
Yeah.
And of course I went there because I had to pay my own way. How can I afford,
It's pretty doggone cheap.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think it is a semester now? Like, do you remember what it was when you went there?
Mine, I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. I think I want to say it was about $2,000.
Yeah, I bet it's about $3-4 grand now.
I wouldn't be surprised. It was going up when my roommate was there last semester.
It goes up almost
gone up so much.
Oh, it goes up almost every year. And these CSU presidents are making literally presidential money, and I mean United States presidential money.
And a college degree today is more like a high school diploma.
Oh, tell me about it.
80 years ago.
Tell me about it. If you don't have a master's degree, you can't teach at BC. You can't teach at Cal State. And, even if you've got 30 years of communications experience, if you don't have a master's, good luck. They might hire you as an adjunct. And believe me, I know people that are examining that option. But
I applied
as a
I had
full-time,
my master's. I applied at BC.
Did you?
Yeah. I didn't ever get it.
I'm reading here it's actually about $7,600.
At Cal State now?
Yeah, that's tuition plus fees.
That's great.
What was it?
7 G's.
7 G's, almost 8.
Which really isn't that much when you look at big schools, UCLA, blah, blah, blah.
Is that per year or for 4?
That's for a year.
Yikes.
Yeah.
You're right, though. I mean, I couldn't imagine sending my child to, somewhere nice and graduate school at the same time.
I mean, 30 grand doesn't get you a year at SC. That doesn't even pay for your dorm at SC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's 30 grand. That's for 4 years.
I have a nephew that graduated from SC in a good degree, very bright, and it's like they're middle class, struggling working.
He didn't get a scholarship or something?
It's strange. I don't know the details, but it's not the fact that it cost him a lot of money. It's like, hey, I have this nice degree, but what do I do with it?
What's it in?
They end up, what was it in? I think it was in aeronautical engineering. He was no dummy.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he has a graduate degree as well.
Nice.
But
he's living with his parents? No, I'm kidding.
I don't think they would allow it, but that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that.
I'm running late. Any final notes before we let you go?
We talked futures. Let me look again. They're slightly up. So hopefully that'll be green tomorrow.
Very good.
And, maybe the stock market will do so much that it will overflow and help people that are having kitchen table issues.
We need it. We need it because it's going to determine the midterms, if you ask me.
We need a lot of good news.
Yeah, we really do. We really do. Always good to talk to you, sir. Have a wonderful weekend.
You as well, Ralph.
And we'll wrap to you next week.
All right. Be well.
All right. You too. Bye. Thank you, sir. Daniel Petrie. Call in today if you are staring retirement in the face or even contemplating it. 395-9400, 395-9400. His office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. We've got to step aside. When we come back, we'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. I'll even look in the chat room, see what they're saying. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a wet and rainy Thursday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1.
Mike.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, has Prince Andrew been beheaded yet? We'll have live team coverage. Plus, people are saying it out loud. Judeo-Christian values really matter for civilization. what war with Iran will look like. Not could look like, will look like, because I think it's happening. We'll talk to Mike Lyons about that. We'll have all the latest details and all the news. That's what we do on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Do you have an event coming up? Graduation is right around the corner, St. Patrick's Day, a birthday celebration, whatever it is. Why go to all the bother of you doing the cooking, the cleaning, the serving, when you can pick up the phone and call 393-5507, 393-5507. Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue. Mike Arias is a former NFL star. He graduated from Garces, a local boy, born and raised here in Bakersfield, and for the last 25 years, he's been running one of the best catering businesses in town. He's been working on word of mouth and doing extremely well, and now he is advertising and letting you know he comes with his crew, he comes with his rig, they do the cooking, they do the serving, they do the cleaning, you do absolutely nothing. And this barbecue has been raging by word of mouth for years. Call Mike today at 393-5507, 393-5507. Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue, and they're still raging hot.
King Door Company continues to set the standard in the garage door industry, and I'm here to tell you a few of the reasons why. First off, King Door carries Clopay garage panels and LiftMaster openers, so you're guaranteed quality and reliability well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and tools to handle any job quickly and efficiently, and those trucks are manned by the most knowledgeable technicians anywhere. They have all the technical expertise imaginable and the most up-to-the-minute training available. In fact, King Door is so committed to training that they have the King Door Academy, a full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the premises with all the latest teaching aids, including working garage doors to simulate any installation, repair, or technique. Your garage door is a very important part of the safety, security, and look of your home, so don't trust it to anyone but King Door Company. Call them today at 397-2744, stop by the showroom at 7450 District Boulevard, or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, your company with the pride of a lion.
Are you looking for a one-of-a-kind way to honor your team or commemorate a special event? Look no further than Martinez Challenge Coins and More, the premier challenge coins and specialty metals company in Bakersfield. With years of experience and a commitment to quality, Martinez creates custom challenge coins that are truly exceptional. Whether you need coins for your military unit, law enforcement agency, or corporate team, they have you covered. Their expert team will work closely with you to design a coin that reflects your unique vision. From intricate artwork to personalized details, Martinez ensures that every coin is a true work of art.
Hi, I'm Ray Martinez, owner and founder of the company. So don't settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary.
Contact Martinez Challenge Coins and More today and let them bring your vision to life. Visit their website at martinez-martinezllc.com or call 661-304-9589. Martinez Challenge Coins and More, where excellence meets craftsmanship.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It amazes me how people speed through our parking lot, even on a rainy day. You know who's the biggest defender of that? I can't say who, because he pays me. He's the biggest offender. He does like 30 leaving here. But I just saw somebody speeding through our parking lot on a rainy day. Like, really? Doing like 20, 25 miles an hour in a parking lot? And do you know most accidents occur in parking lots? Did you know that?
I did hear that. Yeah.
Mall, grocery stores, large business complexes like ours. What do you got on the board before we get into the 5 and start tearing apart Mick Cronin?
Actually, we're bare right now.
Yeah. We are going to talk about Mick Cronin, UCLA head coach, coming up in the 5, and our Black History Month moment focuses on Ida B. Wells. And if I have time, I'll talk a little bit about Joanna Moore. I recently discovered she's the mother of Tatum O'Neal, who was on a absolute Hall of Fame career path. She won an Academy Award. I'm going to have to curse somebody out. I really am. Because this man texted me about an hour ago, and during Mr. Turnipseed's interview, I had to ignore him to tell him I'm working. And yet he texted me again. Please stop texting me. I'm on the air working. He's texting me again. It's like, why would you do that? And it's about poker. It's about some poker tournament he wants me to play in. I won't say who it is, Kyle Brown. But good God almighty. I'm available from 7 a.m. to 2 and 6 to 9. Don't call me after 9 o'clock. Don't text me after 9 o'clock. That's just how I was raised. My mother says, no, you don't call anybody after 9 o'clock. No. 842-5376, 842-KERN. The other crazy story is the story about the Reese family and Reese's. I was a huge Reese's kid. Huge. My dad gave me a Sears card when I was a freshman at Morehouse, and it was intended to buy towels and socks and underwear. There were two things I discovered at the Sears in Atlanta. You know how you don't remember Sears, do you? Your mic's not on.
It's not?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Very little.
Yeah. Well, Sears was famous for they had like a candy section. It was like a little candy store inside of Sears. You guys remember that? Well, I discovered that. And my dad, boy, you do not know how. Like, he wasn't so mad. The other thing that we found was that at the back end of the Sears, they had a meat company. It was like a butcher, is what it was. And on every other Friday, I would go up and buy a bunch of steaks, and we'd have a party in my dorm room. He wasn't as mad about that because he got that. He went to Morehouse. He knows what the cafeteria food is, which, by the way, just for FYI, and I don't know why I'm sharing this with you, would make you go to the bathroom green. I'm not kidding. I remember when I first turned to my roommate, I go, this may sound like a weird question, but are you defecating green? He goes, yeah. I didn't want to say anything either. He wasn't so mad at me buying steaks, but when he found out I was spending money on the candy, that's when I got into trouble.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM.
Crap green.
Online at KERNradio.com.
That's a weird thing, boy. News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The former Prince Andrew was arrested and held for hours by British police Thursday on suspicion of misconduct in public office related to his links to Jeffrey Epstein. An extraordinary move in a country where authorities once sought to shield the royal family from embarrassment. Aboard Air Force One, President Trump was asked about the former Prince Andrew's arrest related to his Jeffrey Epstein links.
I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's very, very sad to me.
We literally, my first year, our second semester, we literally
see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon. Fantastic man, king.
It was the first time in nearly 4 centuries that a senior British royal was placed under arrest. A display on the lives of slaves owned by George Washington is being put back up at the President's House Archaeological Site in Philadelphia.
Workers are restoring an exhibit on slavery that was removed from the National Historical District at Independence Mall in Philadelphia. That's ahead of a Friday deadline set by a U.S. district judge. Last March, President Trump signed an executive order calling for public monuments to be uplifting. The abrupt removal of the exhibit set off a lawsuit by the city and other supporters. In her injunction, Judge Cynthia Roof compared the administration to the totalitarian regime in the novel 1984, saying an agency cannot arbitrarily decide what is true based on the whims of new leadership. The Justice Department is appealing her order. I'm Jennifer King.
Authorities in California say it will be at least another day before crews can attempt to recover the bodies of 8 people killed in an avalanche and search for one other who remains missing but is presumed dead.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 267. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I lived in the same door my dad.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity.
It was the dorm you wanted to be in. It was the honors dorm.
6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
They thought I was there.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A California Army National Guard recruiter in some hot water. I'm Chris Davis. That man is 24 and is accused of having a sexual relationship with a minor, according to the Bakersfield Police Department Special Victims Unit. Because of the victim's age and the ongoing investigation, not a whole lot has been said publicly about what happened. Jacob Robles was arrested, though, and as part of his job, he went to high schools, vocational schools, and colleges in Bakersfield. 2 East Side Crips are likely going to prison for a long time in the 2024 killing of 29-year-old Dontrell Smith, a rival gang member. March 18th is the sentencing date. 37-year-old Rodney Gibson pleaded no contest Wednesday to first-degree murder with a gun and gang charges for a possible sentence of 35 years to life. 33-year-old Marlon Birch pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter, also with a gun and gang charges, for a total of 42 years. At the Lerdo jail, the water is again unsafe to drink, says the Sheriff's Department, and again, there is a do-not-drink notice. That goes for prisoners and staff, and fresh water is being brought in and put in coolers. They say it's because of trace amounts of diesel that were found in the water, and to rectify it, the tanks are going to get a good cleaning. Meanwhile, the health department has recommended no showering in it for the prisoners, and so other accommodations are being made. Some closures are either happening now or coming up that Kern County Public Works wants you to know about. One is Driver Road at 9th Avenue in Delano, and that is 24 hours a day until February 20th at 5 because of work on an open trench. Dean Avenue from Rosedale Highway to Holland Street is closed 9 to 2 on the 24th for utility work. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get a post like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Thursday, 19th day of February. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at KERNradio.com. And the Kern Radio studios are powered by Adaptive Networks for all your IT needs. Call Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com. Still lots to do in the final hour. We begin with Bill Plaschke's article or column today in the Los Angeles Times. I don't know if you read it, but it's focused on the Michigan State-UCLA game. UCLA had a tough road trip where they had to travel to Ann Arbor and take on Michigan, and then go to Lansing to take on Magic's alma mater, Michigan State, where they got completely and thoroughly buried. I mean, buried. I don't know what the final score was, but they were, at the point of the incident that I'm about to tell you about, I think they were down by like 27 points. And what happened was a kid named Stephen James Jackson Oh, hang on. Good Google it. Jamerson, Stephen Jamerson II, is a kid with an interesting story. He's bounced around from college to college. He redshirted, couldn't get on, couldn't make this team, got cut by that team, lost a scholarship, and went to San Diego State, and finally ended up at UCLA. He's getting like 12, 11 minutes a game. But the kids love him, apparently. He's a hustler. He's worked hard. He's got an interesting story. And on a breakaway with the kid in the air, he was clearly going for the ball, if you ask me. But as well as the NCAA and the NBA should, look out for guys who are in the air. But when you commit a foul when a guy is in the air, that is deemed a flagrant foul, because that's obviously when the player is at his most susceptible, precarious position, when you're flying through the midair. And he came across and tried to swipe the ball and hit the guy's arm, and he went flying to the ground, and it was a flagrant one. Which, do you even get a technical for a flagrant one? I don't think so. I think it's just they get 2 shots and they get the ball back.
I'm correct. Yeah, I don't think it's technical. I think it's just 2 free throws and you get the ball back.
Hey, Snacks! He can't hear me.
I can't hear you.
We've got a DJ down the hall who is a college and high school official. See if you can yell down there. See if you can get him down.
I can go find out.
Yeah, go get Snacks real quick. Well, let's use our talent. This is our good friend, who, by the way, is dating my best friend's girlfriend. I mean, daughter. So I got to keep him straight. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding. He's a great guy. Great guy. He's going to be a pro referee one day. Absolutely. I'm just stalling till he gets here. But this situation has called for Bill Plaschke to call for the resignation of UCLA head coach Mick Cronin. And you got to see the play. I mean, it's easy enough. I'm sure if you put in Stephen Jameson, Michigan State, you could, you'll see the play. He can't come down here?
No. He told me no. Like I asked him the question.
Oh, he should have come. No. Tell him to come down here.
I think he's getting ready to head out right now. So, but no,
What
he said
direction?
that flagrant ones are just flagrant fouls. They do not count as technicals.
Did he see the play?
I didn't tell him about the play.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk to him. Do a little song and dance.
Alrighty then.
Hey,
Well,
Snacks!
for those people who haven't heard, or if he hasn't actually brought it up yet, you should go and sign up for the Honor Flight Open, which we'll be having here momentarily. Oh, no,
Hey,
JR is actually doing a song and dance. What do you know?
I'm doing a song and dance. We're doing
This
a
is why you do
song
on
and
YouTube.
dance. I'm doing it. I am headed down to the Super CPR Challenge at Compassion Corner. Song and dance.
Now that was funny. That was funny. But yeah, he is busy. I just want to know if he saw the play, because I didn't think it was that dramatic. So anyway, Cronin, the head coach at UCLA, steps in. They call it flagrant one. They didn't give him a technical. Cronin goes running down the sidelines, grabs the kid, and when I first saw it, I was like, good, sit him down, make an example of him. Then he takes him all the way to the baseline, and I'm like, where is he going? And he like points to the locker room and sends him to the locker room. Again, this comes in the wake of, do you know the K-State coach that just got whacked?
Johnson, but let me double check.
Yeah, that he came out, it was just about a week ago. He came out after a big loss and just absolutely threw his kids under the bus. And they kind of tried to justify it because now they're saying, well, these aren't just college athletes anymore. These aren't just, college kids going to college and happening to play basketball. These guys are professionals. They're getting paid.
Jerome Tang was his name.
What was his name?
Jerome Tang.
Yeah. So he comes out and just absolutely says, these kids don't deserve to wear the uniform. They don't deserve to wear the purple. They just half-assed it. I can't believe it. I've never seen anything like it. And they whacked him 3 days later. I'm shocked it took him 3 days. You can't throw kids under the bus like that. You don't do it in the NBA because you'll lose the locker room and start losing and then get fired. But you can't throw kids under the bus like that. These are somebody's children. Now that's not so much the case. Now that we've got NIL, and guys are coming back and getting eligibility in their literally mid-20s. And there are guys playing college basketball that are older than pros, literally. There are 25, 26-year-olds playing college basketball and college sports. It is crazy. They all see the money. They don't have enough skill to make that kind of money in the pros, but you can go back to college, and if you've got eligibility left, you can get some NIL money, boy, and it'll pay you more than that PE job you've got at your hometown in Beaufort, South Carolina. And so literally, they're 25, 26, 27-year-olds playing college basketball. Did you see? Yeah, come on in. Turn his mic on. Did you see the Michigan State UCLA game and the play where Mick Cronin sent his player to the locker room?
For the flagrant?
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Oh, damn. Then I don't need you then.
What happened in the flagrant?
Well, he sent him to the locker room. It was a flagrant one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get a technical on a flagrant one?
No, a flagrant is just a flagrant.
Yeah.
You get 3 flagrant fouls in college before you eject it.
So they're calling for Cronin's dismissal at UCLA because he humiliated this kid. Went running down the baseline, grabbed him by the jersey, took him all the way to the baseline on the other side of the court, pointed to the locker room, and sent him to the locker room.
Was it a hard foul?
That's why I was hoping you'd seen it. No, I didn't think so. I mean, he caught him midair. He's going to dunk it. He's trying to go for the ball. They hit bodies, and the guy hits the ground. It was a hard fall and a hard foul.
Yeah.
But he was going for the ball. It wasn't like a Bill Lambier type foul.
And they had to go to replay because all flagrants you go to replay.
Yeah.
But that's been his antics his whole career, coaching career.
That's exactly what I'm pointing to.
He's been like that since he was Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always been that way.
I've got some audio of him cursing out, well, not cursing out, but yelling at one of the reporters after the game.
Yeah.
He's a nut.
I did see that.
You saw that?
Yeah, I did see that.
Where he told him to stop shouting at him?
Yeah.
That was after the Michigan State game.
Again, he's always been that way with reporters in the games, coaching. He's always been a tough coach to work for.
You think they're going to whack him? He's got like 3 years left. They just re-signed him to an extension.
I think he's on his way out.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Because Pulaski, the reason we're talking about it, Bill Pulaski, a really well-known LA Times columnist, said he needs to go.
Yeah.
Needs to go.
And he's been having issues there for the past two seasons.
Most importantly, they ain't winning.
That too. And that's not UCLA basketball.
Exactly.
With the heritage they have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so our man Snacks. Oh, we don't have get it. Come over here so they can see it. This is our man Snacks. Get you in the shot. Right
there he is.
There he is. On hot.
I forgot y'all doing big. Huh? I forgot y'all doing it big on here. Y'all on TikTok and everything.
That's
You know how to work TikTok?
No.
I mean, I don't even have it.
He go crazy. Flores does that.
I don't know.
He gets like thousands of views too, Jack. Yeah. He put up something about the dispatcher story. You know the dispatcher story. He got like almost 100,000 views.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not on. I'm not even on any of that stuff.
Me either.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, appreciate you coming in, man. I appreciate it. And again, if you don't know, Snacks is a high school and collegiate referee in basketball. Wants to make that his life job, but those guys never leave. They're like umpires. They don't leave. You look at MLB and pay attention to the umpires. They're all in the 50s and 60s, literally. And did you hear this? You're the sports kid. Did you know that Angel Hernandez is coming back?
Oh God, no.
Yes. Angel, but the only good news is we don't have to worry because we got the box this season.
Strikes, yeah.
Well, where you can only use it with the appeal.
Yeah.
What is it? You get two appeals a game, and it can only be the pitcher, the catcher,
or the hitter. And it has
the
to be
manager can't
immediate,
do
too. It can't. You can't like sit there and dwell on it. You have to immediately say no. That's wrong.
So if it's 2-1 count and the 2-2 pitch is outside, and you think it's outside, but you don't say anything, and then they make another pitch, you can't go back and say, "Well, I want to appeal the other pitch." No, as soon as it's outside, and you think it's outside, you've got to appeal. And really, the word around MLB is a lot of the players don't like that because they realize that they're right maybe 6 out of 10 times. And you don't want to be that guy who's like, and they take a look at it and it's 6 inches off the plate. You know what I'm saying? And you just wasted one of our challenges. And it also puts pressure on them. When do you use it? You know, if the bases are loaded in the first inning, do you really blow it there? And maybe you do because you could have a big inning if you strike out and you really didn't strike out. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a big difference having one out with the base loaded than two outs with the bases loaded. You can score a run with one out, but it'll be an interesting season. But yeah, I think he's right. I think particularly once a Hall of Fame or soon to be when he retires Hall of Fame columnist writes that you got to go, it's hard to keep your gig. And as Snacks added, they ain't winning either. We haven't been the Elite Eight in years, have we?
No, UCLA was just there not so long ago.
Well, not in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I thought you guys were like literally just there like 2 years ago.
Hey Siri, when was the last time UCLA made it to the Elite Eight in basketball? Oh, good. My phone's dead. When was the last time they made it?
2021.
2021? Yeah.
Women's team was 2025.
The what?
Women's team was just there last year, but men's team was 2021.
Yeah, that's 5 years. That doesn't cut it at UCLA. Not when you're coaching under the ghost of John Wooden. And when we come back, I'll play some audio of the soon-to-be ex-coach, if you ask me. What Snacks was referring to, him snapping at a reporter. And Snacks is right. This guy has had a long history. This isn't the first time he's done something bombastic like that. Just embarrassing a kid. That's not necessary. Humiliating a kid on the road. You know what I'm saying? Just send him to the end of the chair and not play him. And then in the locker room, tell him, you're not starting. I'm cutting your time. But to humiliate the kid in front of dragging him by his jersey all the way to the baseline, and then pointing to the locker room, making sure that everybody in the stadium knows what you're doing. That's what that was about. Let me show what a sportsman I am. Let me show how I don't put up with this with my own team. Big tough guy. And he's about this tall, about 4'2". I used to like the guy because they were winning back for about 5-6 years ago. In fact, we made a pretty good run. Was that the run we made in 21? Where they just got to the Elite Eight? That was it?
No. The 2021 was when they got to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They made a pretty good run back then. You had a good team back then, too. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, you're learning about Ida B. Wells, delving into the world of black journalism. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and
Messmaker.
And The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Are you serious right now? You certainly don't go by first lady. You choose first partner. And you're going to talk to us about protecting women? You want to talk about protecting women? Let's start with our girls right here in the state of California and protecting them in sports. You want us to ask questions about women and protecting women? How about that question?
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you're with us at 4:30 when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors made his weekly appearance on the broadcast. He joins us every Thursday at 4:30. And of course, you guys know by now what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are well known for. It's all about retirement and not just about every single person, including Lisa and our traffic staff. You've heard Chris Orr, one of our loyal listeners, just extol the incredible financial benefits he's gained by being a client at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Call him today at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in to the broadcast every Thursday at 4:30. Their office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or NPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
How can you grow your business from idea to industry leader? With smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need. Go to AmazonBusiness.com for support.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
Here's the tale of Tina, searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Till good RX wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door, pick up same day. Yard tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Are the rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, Chapter 7 bankruptcy could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Stop the harassing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly, and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to csbk.com. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York, 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com. Your clean slate starts here.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Stella knows what I'm talking about. She says she used to work at Sears. We were talking about Sears because my dad gave me a Sears card when I went off to college to buy underwear and socks and towels. And instead I bought steaks and Reese's cups. And the Sears Reese's cups were different. They were like bigger and like thicker. But the story is one of the members of the Reese family ratted them out and insisted they're no longer using milk chocolate and they use a peanut cream instead of peanut butter. I could definitely tell the difference. I've always thought they just don't taste like they did when I was a kid. It's not as peanut buttery and the chocolate isn't as deep. You can definitely tell. And I never really thought about it. I just thought, maybe I'm just getting old and I don't eat that much candy anymore. Because it's a wonder I have teeth in my head. It really is. When I was a kid, my parents never got me braces, but I was in and out of the dentist. I could sit I stopped around 8th, 9th grade when I realized this is getting stupid. I would sit and watch a Dodger game and could eat a 10-pack. I would buy Butterfingers in 10 packs for back then for $1.50. You could buy a 10-pack of Butterfingers for $1.50 when I was growing up in the 70s. And I would buy them in 10 packs. And I could sit there and in 9 innings, I could knock off all 10 Butterfingers. And I'm not talking about mini. I'm talking about the full-length Butterfingers. And then I got addicted to Reese's Cups and discovered the Sears. And they had the Reese's Cups. And I would get you'd get them by weight, if I remember correctly. And then we found the steak place, the butcher around the corner, the backside of the Sears. And man, the parties we would have. Haven't I told you the story about how my RA, my residential advisor, tried to get me kicked out of Morehouse? That he literally went to the Morehouse board because we had a sign. George and I had a sign on our door. We called it the pub because our dorm room was right where the steps come up, and it just, I don't know whether it was my personality or George's personality, or it just became like the room to hang out in. This is where people hung out. Just whether we were partying or whatever. And on Fridays, we would have like happy hour. And then when we found the butchery, we'd go up and get steaks. We'd buy about 3 or 4 steaks and just cut them up and share them and just have a ball. And unbeknownst to me, Simon Perry was going after my ex-girlfriend, Sherry Bancoli. And that's why he tried to get me kicked out of Morehouse, because he lied and said that we were basically selling booze out of our room, and tried to get me kicked out of Morehouse College. And I literally had to form a defense. I had to have like 6 guys from the floor come and testify and refute all that he said. And then like a week later, literally like a week later, we see him walking hand in hand with Sherry Bancoli. Can I tell another inappropriate story about Sherry Bancoli?
You got 2 minutes.
This is one of my favorite stories. So you guys know, I dated Sherry Bancoli when I was a freshman for like the first semester. I was a virgin. We never had sex. I didn't have sex until I was a sophomore in college, which is extremely rare for a grown man. But as I talked about yesterday, I covered the 1988 Democratic Convention in Atlanta. I was the senior political reporter for the LA Sentinel in Los Angeles. And on one of the nights, I was there for a week, and we were a weekly newspaper. We went to publish on Tuesdays. So I wrote kind of a BS story on Tuesday, and then I wrote the big story about Jesse that would appear next Tuesday. So really Thursday and Friday, the night that Jesse spoke, where I was on the floor, and Friday night, the night that Michael Dukakis spoke, I was on the floor. But other than that, I really didn't have anything to do. And so I was walking around back to my hotel, and I saw a Baskin Robbins. And I said, let me get some ice cream before I go up to the hotel room. And I went into the Baskin Robbins, and who was managing the Baskin Robbins, Chris Burdick? Sherry Bancoli, my freshman girlfriend, with her Spelman degree. And I'm like, what are you doing in here? She goes, I manage the store. And I go, weren't you a sociology major? And she said, yeah, this is 4 years after we had left. This is 88. I should have graduated in 84. And we started talking. I invited her back to my hotel. And that's the end of the story. And I don't know, it was like vindication. Just the way that Simon tried to get me kicked out of college over her. Like, really? And she wasn't that good looking. But dude tried to get me kicked out of college, just absolutely lied and said we were selling booze out of our dorm room. And then I got my revenge in 1988. I just love that story. I told you, I'm a very strange man. Last half hour of the broadcast, don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With us on news, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The 6 women killed in an avalanche in California's Sierra Nevada. A group of 8 close friends and experienced backcountry skiers on a trip together. That's according to a statement released by their families Thursday. Tuesday's avalanche killed 8 people. 6 survived the disaster. Authorities say it will be at least an battle. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Someone who visited schools and colleges as an Army National Guard recruiter has been arrested and charged with having sex with a minor. 24-year-old Jacob Robles was arrested after an investigation by the Bakersfield PD Special Victims Unit. The water at the Lerdo jail has again been deemed unsafe to drink, this time because of trace amounts of diesel detected in testing, says the Kern County Sheriff's Department. They are bringing in fresh water for the prisoners and staff. It's to help with public safety. Bakersfield is planning to build 3 new police and public safety radio towers, one at the city maintenance yard, one on Panorama Drive at the landfill, and another at the Kaiser Permanente Sportsplex. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Look up in the sky. Yeah, that's what they cry. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's them. It's Paul Sheldon's team, that well-oiled machine of Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Okay, not superpowers, but still thousands of hours deciphering Medicare's whims, fighting the good fight, learning what works right. Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. So it might seem old-fashioned, but hard work with passion most often gives you the win. And the trio that knows are those Medicare pros, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. You know, actually to many, they are superheroes. Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, it looks like our little pretend winter is over with. We got the latest on the whole Zach Scribner fiasco, and it is a fiasco. We have this weird story about the shooting outside one of our local high schools. We got news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I had to take my hood down because I never know what still picture they're going to post on YouTube. You know? Because some of the pictures, it's like, and I'm like, really? How does that,
YouTube determines it.
They just select the spot in the show and freeze it and post it?
Whatever works the best, yeah.
Okay, that's why I had to take my hood off, because I would love to take my hood on because it's freezing in here. It really is. 842-5376. Anything on the board before I get to our Black History Month moment?
Just got one here. It says, one of the perks of working for the city of Bakersfield is certain employees in the police and fire departments get their college tuition and books paid for by the city if the degree will help them become better employees.
Is that right?
As if these guys need anything else paid for.
No kidding. That's amazing. I did not know that. You know, we need to do a better job at explaining some of the perks of certain professions when we're young. Not that I could ever be a cop or a fireman, but had I known that you could be a fireman and retire a very well-off man at like 50, I could never be a cop. I might have been able to be a fireman, but I couldn't be a cop. And a fireman is just as dangerous. Well, not maybe as dangerous, but it's a very dangerous gig. But and it's a difficult gig. I mean, they do nothing for like 7 months out of the year, and then 3 months out of the year, they bust their hump like nobody's business. And it doesn't matter if the fire, you know, in the state of California, if the fire is big enough and it's in Northern California, they call up Kern County. If it's in Los Angeles, they'll call up Kern County. If it's here in Kern County, they'll call LA and San Diego. Doesn't matter where you're stationed. If it's a huge enough fire, you're going. And so I'm not trying to lessen what they do, but they do sit on their behinds quite a bit. But when they work, Jack, they work like no one else. But had I known growing up that you could retire in your 50s and get paid for the rest of your life, that might have changed my attitude toward what I wanted to do for a living. But we don't tell kids that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Hit it, Mr. Burdick. It is time now for our Black History Month moment, and today we focus on Ida Bell Wells Barrett. Ida Bell Wells Barnett, was an American investigative journalist, sociologist, educator, and early leader in the civil rights movement. She was one of the founders of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. She dedicated her career to combating prejudice and violence and advocating for African American equality, especially for women. Throughout the 1890s, Wells documented lynching of African Americans in the United States in articles and through pamphlets such as Southern Horrors, Lynch Law in All Its Phases, and The Red Record, which debunked the fallacy frequently voiced by whites at the time that all Black lynching victims were guilty of crimes. Wells exposed the brutality of lynching and analyzed its sociology, arguing that whites used lynching to terrorize African Americans in the South because they represented economic and political competition and thus a threat of loss of power for whites. She aimed to demonstrate the truth about this violence and advocate for measures to stop it. Wells was born into slavery in Holly Springs, Mississippi. She was freed as an infant under the Emancipation Proclamation when Union Army troops captured Holly Springs. At the age of 14, she lost both her parents and her infant brother in the 1878 yellow fever epidemic. I'm having problems. Hang on. My phone is doing whatever it wants. She got a job teaching and kept the rest of the family together with the help of her grandmother, later moving with some of their siblings to Memphis, Tennessee. Soon, Wells co-owned and wrote for the Memphis Free Speech and Headlight newspaper, where her reporting covered incidents of racial segregation and inequality. Eventually, her investigative journalism was carried nationally in Black-owned newspapers. Subjected to continued threats and criminal violence, including when a white mob destroyed her newspaper offices and presses, Wells left Memphis for Chicago, Illinois. She married Ferdinand L. Barnett in 1895 and had a family while continuing her work writing, speaking, and organizing for civil rights and the women's movement for the rest of her life. Wells was outspoken regarding her beliefs as a Black female activist and faced regular public disapproval, sometimes including from others within the civil rights movement and the women's suffrage movement. She was active in women's rights and the women's suffrage movement, establishing several notable women's organizations. A skilled and persuasive speaker, Wells traveled nationally and internationally on lecture tours. Wells died on March 25th, 1931 in Chicago, and in 2020 was posthumously honored with a Pulitzer Prize special citation, quote, for her outstanding and courageous reporting on the horrific and vicious violence against African Americans during the era of lynching. Ladies and gentlemen, Ida Bell Wells Barnett, one of the finest journalists in American history. And yet I'm willing to bet all $87 I have in my checking account that none of you ever heard of her. Never heard of Billy Bear. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Let's take an early break because I'm going to spend some time reading something to you. I don't know, this may be stupid to do, but I just found it fascinating. It ties to the Andy Griffith Show, which I'm assuming many of my listeners were big fans of. I think the first 4 or 5 years of the Andy Griffith Show is some of the best television on television. Like most shows, it kind of jumped the shark after about the 5th year. Because in all reality, the hit on the show was Don Knotts. And Andy Griffith wanted it. Andy Griffith. I always remember with Andy Taylor, Andy Griffith. Andy Griffith wanted it that way. They were very good friends for their entire lives. And Andy wanted to be the straight man. He didn't really, although there are some really funny scenes with Andy, Ribbon, Barney, and dealing with Empey and Opie. But Don Knotts was the guy. He was the one that won all the Emmys. And after about the 4th or 5th year, when Knotts became a star, he started doing motion pictures. That fish movie that he did, remember where he turns into a fish and it's a cartoon and he helps the Navy? And the movies that he did with Tim Conway, Gang, the
Incredible Mr. Limpet.
The Incredible Mr. Limpet, exactly. You got his credits there? Read some of his credits as a motion picture. The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. He did a bunch of movies in the late 60s.
The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Yes, that's a classic. In fact, that's based on an Andy Griffith episode where Goober and Barney have to go in and get Opie's baseball out of this haunted house. And then Andy goes in there and explains it's not haunted. It's some guy trying to keep people out of the house. And that movie was based on that episode. And so that's when they kind of jumped the shark. When Don Knotts kind of walked away. He came back, but for a couple of years he was gone and the show just wasn't as good. And then they went to color and Ron Howard became a teenager and it was like, I mean, I remember watching it. And then remember Ken Berry came along and they kind of transitioned away from Andy. Well, I'm going to tell you the story about one of Andy Taylor's girlfriends on the show, who she sired, who she gave birth to, and her own trials and tribulations. We'll do that next before we get out of here. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Thursday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Friday. Whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah, it's that time again. I don't know what to do. Godfather, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Three, two. So Jasmine Baines, who I don't even think is going to be in the final general election. I think she's going to be beat by Randy Villegas before she even gets a chance to take on David Valadao. But she's trying to use Zach Scrivener to elevate her candidacy. She's created some kind of bill that she wants to get passed. She's bringing up the Lords of Bakersfield. She's bringing up Jeffrey Epstein. Dr. Baines, this ain't going to get you to Washington. And I cannot wait until David Valadao beats her like a drum. That was horrible. I'm getting really bad at this. What's tomorrow? Friday? We got Lang tomorrow. He texted me for some reason. He wants to come on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what I said. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Friday TRBS. Well, it's a Friday. So Rick Bentley from KGT will be with us. And Brandon Lang joins us one more time. All that, me at 3. It's TRBS on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
Screens, and now GNC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Are you craving a mouthwatering sandwich that's packed with flavor? Then look no further than Caesar's Deli, where they craft some of the best sandwiches in town. Sink your teeth into our signature classic, Caesar's Special, featuring 2 kinds of salami, premium ham, and the irresistible taste of Nona's Secret Meat Sauce. It's a sandwich experience that you won't forget. But that's not the only sandwich they offer. No. Satisfy your craving with a savory smoked turkey sandwich, or indulge yourself in the loaded pastrami, or for the adventurous eater, they offer pickled tongue. And here's the best part. Caesar's Deli has incredible lunch specials designed to fill you up without emptying your wallet. Plus, did you know that Caesar's Deli has a full-service deli offering a variety of over 60 meats and cheeses? It's a sandwich lover's paradise, and that's why Caesar's Deli has been a local favorite and proudly serving Bakersfield since 1971. Visit Caesar's Deli today and taste the difference for yourself. Located on the corner of Brim Hall and Callaway behind the beautiful water fountain.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
If I have to beg you,
Back to
please,
the
for
Ralph
your
Bailey Show.
sympathy, I don't mind, cause you need that much to me. Ain't too proud to beg, darling, please don't leave me, girl. Ain't too proud to keep, baby, please don't leave me, girl. No sense of pride, but if I
don't know if I even have time to read all of this. It's really, really long. But it is a story of a woman by the name of Joanna Moore. She played Peg on the Andy Griffith Show. She was Andy's girlfriend. She was on about 4 episodes, and I just found this fascinating. It's really long. It might be boring, but maybe you'll find that's how I produce the show. I think if it's fascinating to me, it should be fascinating to you guys. But maybe not. Maybe y'all didn't watch the Andy Griffith Show as much as I did. You'd be hard-pressed to find a TV show more beloved and enduring than The Andy Griffith Show. Over 6 decades after the show debuted, it is still popular in syndication. You know, I don't need all this. One of the most fondly remembered roles is that of Peggy McMillan, Andy's girlfriend, played by actress Joanna Moore. Even though she only appeared in 4 episodes in 1962, many fans still consider her a favorite of all of Andy's love interests. No question about that. I never got Helen Crumb. I thought she was homely. And remember the pharmacist who would later go on, she was on Father Knows Best. She's a beautiful girl. I was like, why don't you marry her? Or Peg. But Helen Crumb? Really? Joanna Moore was born as Dorothy Joanna Cook in Americus, Georgia in 1934. I don't need to know all this. About the dad, you don't need to know about that. You don't need to know about that. Joanna's adopted family had molested her. At 16, Joanna married and quickly divorced another teenager, Willis Moore, married at 16. Not long after that, she enrolled in Agnes Scott College near Atlanta. I actually, anyway, I've been to Agnes Scott College. Let's just put it that way. It's right before you get to Buckhead in Atlanta, and I've definitely been there. She had over 80 film and television credits, was once married to Hollywood's, God dang it, was once married to Hollywood's #1 heartthrob. She co-starred with the most successful entertainer in history. Her daughter even won an Academy Award. Her daughter was Tatum O'Neal. God, why does this keep doing this? Joanna was born, you don't need to know that. In 2004, A Paper Life, her daughter Tatum recalls rumors that a member of Joanna's adopted family had molested her. At 16, Joanna married and quickly divorced another teenager, Willis Moore. A brief second marriage came and went. Late 1957, Moore began appearing in TV and film roles, including Maverick, Perry Mason, The Rifleman, The Untouchables, and Studio One. She was injured when shooting an in-water scene on the set of Route 66 that left her with a 6-inch scar on her leg. Nonetheless, she continued working steadily in numerous series. Moore suffered from a genetic hearing disorder, which is a bone growth in the inner ear. Her hearing, God dang it, why does it keep doing this? Her hearing had declined to the point that directors had to tap her on the shoulder when it was time to shoot her parts. And she went through the lines without hearing them and had to read her co-star's lips to complete a scene. Despite that, in 1961, she was able to travel to Florida to film Follow the Dream with Elvis Presley. The gossip columnists of the day relayed stories of Elvis once trying to break down her door, but it seems there was never any romantic connection. In the summer of 62, she underwent surgery to correct the hearing issue, and it was successful. Leaving the hospital after the procedure, she heard a truck horn not honk. I can't do this. My phone won't let me do this. Anyway, she just suffered from just a horrendous life of drugs and alcohol. And, she went through several marriages. In 1963, she married her third husband, actor Ryan O'Neal, and gave birth to their first child, Tatum, a few months later. Son Griffin followed in 64. It was Griffin. Look up Griffin O'Neal and find out who he killed. I think it's Coppola's kid. In early 1966, the couple separated and their divorce became final in 1967. The court awarded custody of the children to Moore. Moore's alcohol and drug use escalated after the divorce. Still getting acting roles, her personal life suffered from substance abuse, and she moved the family to a rundown ranch where she had the misguided idea of providing care for troubled youths. Her downward spiral continued. Tatum describes an environment with rampant drug abuse, unsanitary conditions, beatings at the hands of her mother's 16-year-old boyfriend, and being locked in the garage for so long that she and her brother resorted to eating dog food. A DUI with her children in the car resulted in a loss of custody of her children. Another DUI was from a wreck in which she lost 3 fingers. And checked herself into rehab, but continued to struggle with her addictions. Other DUIs followed. Another marriage quickly ended in divorce. By the late 1970s, Joanne's life had gotten to the point that her daughter had to provide support for her. Tatum later said her mother, quote, was extraordinarily beautiful with blonde hair, a perfect heart-shaped face, huge green eyes, lush, full lips. She had a smoky, seductive voice, and warmed by her southern lilt. Moore still landed the occasional acting role and did some theater in Palm Springs. Her last television appearance was the TV movie Scouts Honor in 1980. A lifelong smoker, she was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1996. Died in 1997. She's buried in Oak Grove Cemetery in Americus, Georgia. I don't know. I found that fascinating. I have always wondered, because I always thought it was Ryan that kind of, because both the kids, what did you find on Griffin? Both these kids are nightmares. I mean, Tatum's my age.
Griffin was just involved in the boating accident that killed Giancarlo Coppola. That's all I see.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily blame him for it, but he's just involved in it.
Well, he was messed up. He was high as a kite when it happened, and he squirted out of it. He's a celebrity's kid. They hired some powerful lawyer, and I don't think Francis Ford Coppola wanted to see the guy go to jail. I'm sure he's friends with Ryan. I'm sure he's worked with Ryan O'Neal, but I don't know. It was like an epiphany to me because I was a huge fan of Tatum O'Neal's. I think she's incredibly talented. I rooted for her when she was married to John McEnroe. Remember that? She and John McEnroe were married for about 5 or 6 years. I think they even had kids together. And she was a beautiful young woman before she continued doing drugs and drinking. And she did not age well. But have you ever seen The Paper Moon? It is an incredible movie, and it is a remarkable performance. If you ever say to yourself, how does an 11-year-old win an Academy Award? Watch Paper Moon. I mean, there are a couple of scenes where she smokes a cigarette. She's 11 years old, and she's smoking a cigarette like a veteran. And as I said, if you weren't with us at the top of the show, part of the reasons that she ended up so screwed up because both of her parents were screwed up. Ryan O'Neal, and I can only attribute this to jealousy, did not accompany her to the Academy Awards the night that she won. In fact, I might tonight dig up her acceptance speech and see if she alluded to that. The fact that neither one of her parents were in the audience the night that she won the Academy Award at 11 years old. Can you imagine that? She was probably drinking at the governor's ball without her parents. I don't know at what point she started her downfall, but I don't know. You're probably saying, well, Ralph, why are you fascinated by this? I'm fascinated by people that have enormous talent and then just piss it away. I really am. Because most of us, have to work hard. Even if you're somewhat talented, you have to work hard. And I'm just fascinated by people who are just naturally talented. And I think that's the fault. That I think sometimes if you have too much natural talent, you take it for granted. That's what makes Tiger so extraordinary. That's what makes Jordan so extraordinary. They knew they were better than everybody else, and yet they still worked harder than everybody else. That's what makes you the difference between an A player and an A+ player. There was no player in the league that worked harder than Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. And they worked off one another. Bird has talked about it in so many different interviews where he would shoot 300 shots and he'd start to walk back to his house. And then he'd be like, nah, Magic got in 500. And he'd take 200 more shots. And same thing with Tiger, where he hit 200 or 300 balls. And then he'd be like, VJ's probably hitting 500 balls. Let me hit 200 or 300 more. That's what I'm fascinated by on both ends. People that have enormous talent and then just piss it away, and people that do have enormous talent and yet are still the hardest working sons of guns you ever meet. Human nature, I love studying this, and to find out after all these years that beautiful woman on the Andy Griffith Show is the woman that led Tatum O'Neal and Griffin to just ruining their lives. Because as I say, there are obviously outliers, and if you're one of them, if you had horrible parents and you're successful, then you're an outlier, because it starts in the home. And if you've got two messed up parents, your chances of being successful and just having a life, that's where we see child molestation. If you see that in your home, you're probably going to be a child molester. If your dad beats his wife up, your mom, you're probably going to follow in those footsteps. And we've seen it, most alcoholics are children of alcoholics. And it's just the way, and drug addict as well. If you grow up seeing that in your home, you're 12 years old and you come and there's mom and her young boyfriend snorting coke, you're going to get curious about it and you're going to do it. You follow in their footsteps. And it was fascinating for me, at least. I hope I didn't bore you all to death with it, to learn this is why these two were so screwed up. Griffin O'Neal should have gone to jail for killing Coppola's kid. But you know how it is. If you're a celebrity, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can do whatever the hell you want. That's what I believe. Want to thank Mike Turnipseed for joining us, along with Daniel Petrie and our colleague down the hall, Snacks, coming in, give us some officiating knowledge. Tomorrow's a Friday. Brandon Lang and Rick Bentley. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. As President Trump waves military action against Iran, Russia is making its presence known as Tehran's ally. Iran held annual military drills with Russia on Thursday. Correspondent Karen Chalmers reports President Trump had strong words for Iran during his meeting today with a newly gathered Board of Peace.
After announcing a U.S. pledge of $10 billion to the Board of Peace, President Trump said,
"Now is the time for Iran to join us on a path that will complete what we're doing."
Adding,
"They must make a deal.
With a warning,
Bad things will happen if it doesn't."
Iran has asked for 2 weeks before reconvening another round of talks.
Both the United States and Iran are signaling they're prepared for war if talks on Tehran's nuclear program fizzle out. President Trump announced at the inaugural Board of Peace meeting today that 9 members have agreed to pledge $7 billion towards a Gaza relief package. He also says 5 countries have agreed to deploy troops as part of an international stabilization force for the war-battered Palestinian territory. He still faces the sticky situation of trying to disarm Hamas, something they've vowed not to do. There's been another drop in mortgage rates in the U.S.
Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the average rate on a 30-year mortgage slipped this week to 6.01%. It's now at its lowest level in more than 3 years. The average rate has remained just above 6% much of this year, reflecting a pullback in the long-term bond yields that lenders use as a guide to pricing home loans. In home buying season, at least for home shoppers who can afford to buy at current rates. I'm Alex Vega.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 267, and the S&P down 19. More at Town Hall.